Chi Ziyu also remembered and asked the cultivator on the side, "Yeah, where's Yu Qian Bei?" Chi Ziyu also remembered and asked the cultivator on the side, "Yeah, where's Yu Qian Bei?" The cultivators looked at each other. Clearly no one knew where Yu Qian Bei went. Yimo scanned his spirit sense out. He had seen that disaster transformation state cultivator when he first arrived, but he couldn't see him now. However, he saw that formation repairing cauldron filling state cultivator come over. Yimo quickly went over and greeted him. "Mo Yimo greets you, friend. If it wasn't for your help, the city would be done for." The cauldron filling state laughed. "Brother Yi, you're too polite. I've long heard of sect leader Ye's great name. The prodigy who created the spirit-weaving pill. I didn't think you'd be such a prodigy in cultivation too. When you left Pei High City, I heard Ziyu say you were golden core state power, but now you're stronger than me. I was shocked when I saw you fight with that truth realization state beast cultivator. If it was me, I wouldn't even last one move before dying. Plus, Brother Ye's formation skills are much higher than mine. From the trap formation you set outside the city, I know your formation skills aren't something I can compare with. Brother Yi, you're indeed the greatest prodigy I've seen." Chi Ziyu explained. Sect leader Yi, Li Yifeng, is the elder of Formation Forgery Sect. If it wasn't for him, and that the mysterious Yu Qian Bei, Pei High City would have long fallen. Yimo quickly said in gratitude, "Yimo's family is all in Pei High City, and Brotherly helped Pei High City, which is the same as helping me. If Brotherly needs any help, Yimo will do all he can." Okay, let's go to the City Lord Estate and have a good talk first. But Yudakian Qian Bei doesn't like too many people, so he already left the city when the spirit beasts retreated. "Otherwise, it would be great knowing someone like Brother Yi," Elderly said. Yimo immediately nodded in agreement. He told Yiling and them to go back to Mou first, and that he would be back in a bit. In the North Far States, all herb mountain ranges, in the innermost part of the place was a cultivation home in a valley. A tall man sighed and got up. He didn't leave the cultivation home, but instead went to another room. There was a very beautiful young girl here. The girl saw the tall man come in and sneered, shutting her eyes. "Qiandai, why did you do this?" the tall man asked and sighed. The pretty girl still kept her eyes shut. The tall man didn't get an answer for a long while, and shook his head and turned to leave. Suddenly, the girl opened her eyes and said coldly, "Lin Zhongtian, put away that savior face. Don't make it seem like you're the savior of North Far State. You're just a shameless hypocrite." Lin Zhongtian turned back and said slowly, "Qiandai, I never said I was a savior. I'm just doing what I should be doing. As one of the 3 strongest people in North Far State, I have the responsibility to protect it." "Bullshit." Ao Kindy got up suddenly and pointed at Lin Zhongtian, cursing. "Lin Zhongtian, don't make yourself sound so great. Who raped a young girl? Who made that girl pregnant? Who cast aside that pregnant girl? Do you know how hard it is for an unmarried girl to bring up a child? Did you know how hard it was for the mother when the child was about to die, but there was nothing she could do? Lin Zhongtian, how do you have the face to talk about responsibility and protection?" Ao Qiandai was so agitated that her body was shaking. "Lin Zhongtian, in order to find you, I cultivated like crazy. But when I was struggling for cultivation resources, where were you? When I was hunted by enemies, where were you? If my essence spirit didn't find that pregnant woman within 45 minutes and stayed on her, managing to survive, there would be no Lu Qiandai in this world. I would just be a dead soul, an extra person." Lin Zhongtian's face looked more and more guilty. His body even became wobbly. He said dejectedly, "Qiandai, the person I owe the most to in my life is you. I was young at the time, and I didn't understand a lot of things. I thought pursuing the immortal Tao meant to sever your mortal ties. Later, I realized I was wrong and I went to find you, but you had already left your home. I know I owe you." Lin Zhongtian continued, "But Qiandai, no matter how much you hate me, you can't start the beast tide and set up us 3 to be injured. You can't let the Ao Chung Merchant Association deal with spirit beasts, feeding cultivator golden core and essence blood to them." The pretty girl who calmed down a little heard this and exploded again. "Lin Zhongtian, you think I don't know what you're thinking? You like that Tang Meng Rao? Did I make you lose face in front of her when I said you fucked me? If you have the balls, say you didn't fuck me. Say it." Lin Zhongtian's face burst red, but he still replied, Qin, I don't say that. Tang Mingrao is your master after all. How can you treat her like that? She deserves to be my master? Ao Qiandai looked at Lin Zhongtian coldly. I set up you three to fight each other? If you weren't jealous of Shan Di and Tang Mingrao's relationship, would you fight with your full power when they joined up against you? And that Shan Di, you think he can't tell that I'm still a virgin? How many women has he been with? It's possible Tang Mingrao can't tell, but you think he can't. Bullshit. Lin Zhongtian frowned. He was indeed jealous of Shan Di, but just a little. He didn't think of fighting against Shan Di with his life, but Shan Di was fighting with his life. If he went a little easy, he would die. So, he had to fight with his full life. Ao Qiandai continued, I think you're not sad because Shan Di attacked you with full power, but that Tang Mingrao blocked your killing blow for Shan Di. That's your greatest disappointment. Lin Zhongtian suddenly looked a lot older. He looked at Ao Qiandai and said, Qiandai, go. I don't want to see you conspire with spirit beasts again. Leave? Lin Zhongtian, you are actually letting me leave? After you abandoned me, once you want to abandon me again? The beautiful girl started to cry. Qiandai, you. Lin Zhongtian looked at this young girl and knew her soul was the woman he abandoned at home. But she was only 30 years old now, while he was nearly 1,000 years old. No matter what, the two couldn't get back together again. Ao Qiandai suddenly cried into Lin Zhongtian's arms. Zhongtian, I hate you. How am I not better than that Tang Mingrao? Why do you like her that much? Why don't you like me? I had your child before, and you still treat me like this. Feeling the faint aroma of the young and pretty Ao Qiandai, he suddenly didn't know what to do and murmured, but, Ao Qiandai no longer had the hatred she had before and just sobbed, Zhongtian, I miss our child. I owe him. Sorry, Qiandai, I. Lin Zhongtian patted the girl in his arms and wanted to comfort her. Zhongtian, let's have a child again, like many years ago, and we can live together. Ao Qiandai looked up with a miserable face that was soft enough to melt the hardest iron. Huh. Lin Zhongtian was dazed, but before he spoke, his face changed suddenly. He waved his hand and Ao Qiandai flew out, crashing onto the wall and spitting blood. Lin Zhongtian also spat a few mouthfuls of blood. He looked coldly at Ao Qiandai and said, You're not Qiandai. You're not Li Qiandai nor Ao Qiandai. Who are you? Ao Qiandai sneered and wiped the blood from her mouth, looking coldly at Lin Zhongtian. It's not important who I am. What's important is that there will never be a Lin Zhongtian in this world again. Oh, perhaps one Lin Zhongtian, but he'll be my dog. Lin Zhongtian laughed. There's only a living Lin Zhongtian or a dead Lin Zhongtian in this world. No Lin Zhongtian that's a dog. Bitch, I was blind to think that the person I loved the most would become as cruel as you. I just realized today you're a cauldron-filling state cultivator, but Tang Mingrao didn't know her disciple was a venomous snake hiding in the Jade Woman sect for many years. He looked at her and said word by word, You? What do you want to do? Ao Qiandai looked at Lin Zhongtian in contempt. What I want to do? Pity you won't know. I won't let you know. You need to have the resolve of being a dog. Lin Zhongtian released his magic artifact and looked coldly at her. You think destroying my Dantian will let you kill me for sure? I just want to ask you one thing. Where is Qiandai? How do you know everything in her heart? Ao Qiandai sneered and threw a red rune over. She knew that despite Lin Zhongtian's injury and destruction of his Dantian, his disaster transformation state peak stage power was much stronger than her cauldron-filling state tertiary stage power. She need to be careful. Ao Qiandai sneered and threw a red rune over. She knew that despite Lin Zhongtian's injury and destruction of his Dantian, his disaster transformation state peak stage power was much stronger than her cauldron-filling state tertiary stage power. She need to be careful. The red rune exploded around Lin Zhongtian, and most of the explosion wave struck the stone wall. Lin Zhongtian's shield just blocked a small part of the explosion, and he spat mouthfuls of blood again. Lin Zhongtian sighed. He knew he probably wouldn't make it today. He wanted to self-destruct his essence spirit while he could, but he felt the earth below him shake as though the entire mountain range was shaking. Ao Qiandai scanned with spirit sense, but she found she couldn't scan out her spirit sense at all. Her face changed, and she immediately released a pink soul-catching bell, attacking at Lin Zhongtian. Lin Zhongtian would rather die than let this woman capture him. So, when she attacked with the ball, he also released the shield to protect him. He needed time to self-destruct. Although his dantian was destroyed, he had some self-defense for a short while. With a clank, Lin Zhongtian's spirit sense went heavy as though something was breaking out of his body. He quickly burned some essence blood. Rumble, the sound outside was getting louder. Ao Qiandai looked at Lin Zhongtian and didn't attack. Instead, she released a dark gray rune. The rune formed a rippled-like ring around her. Then Ao Qiandai disappeared. Lin Zhongtian could tell it was a space transmission rune. Ao Qiandai really had a lot of good stuff. Lin Zhongtian knew he couldn't get away. Even if he had such high-level rune, he wouldn't be able to use it since his dantian was shattered. He looked at the direction she disappeared and sighed. He knew that Ao Qiandai must have been possessed. The soul possessing her must be a cruel person, probably a beast cultivator. But with her power and calculations, there was no way she would be interested in golden core state trading. Her goal must be something else. Suddenly, Lin Zhongtian felt the ground below him go empty and the place he was at cracked open. Lin Zhongtian shook his head and didn't resist. For a cultivator with a shattered dantian, there was no point in living. At this moment in the City Lord Estate, there was Yimo, Jiling, Tang Mingrao, Ming Xian, 4 cauldron-filling state cultivators of Peihai City, City Lord Qi Ziyu, and elderly Yimo also simply talked about the South Peace State, but he was asking more about the Peihai City. Qi Ziyu told him that the Ao Chung Merchant Association disappeared before the beast tide came. The disaster transformation state cultivator who came was called Eudakian. Most of the time, Eudakian was protecting elderly and repairing the formations. Otherwise, even with Eudakian, the city would have long fallen. Yimo got up gratefully and saluted with his fists. Brotherly, I won't say much besides thanking you. Without you, the Peihai City would have fallen a few years ago. I'll be staying here for a while, then going back to South Peace State. When I leave, I want to visit you at Formation Forgery Sect. Li Tianyi heard this and quickly said, I will gladly welcome you. Jiling Qianbei came to set up a level 9 formation for the city. I also want to study it. Perhaps when you leave, I will still be at Peihai City. Another messenger flying sword landed on his hand. He opened it and exclaimed, Broken Leaf City's beast tide also retreated. Great, there probably won't be another one in 100 years. Everyone was very happy, but Tang Mingrao got up and said, Yimo, thanks for saving my life this time. I know you have a bad opinion of me. No matter, when I see Brother Lin Zhongtian, I will apologize to him. The beast tide is gone, and I will return to my sect. Ming Xian also got up and bade farewell. She said she would come back and thank Yimo after she settled the matters of her sect. Yimo also wanted to go back to MOU and got up and said goodbye. However, Jiling stayed at the City Lord Estate to discuss setting up the formation for the city. When Yimo got back to MOU, Song Yangzhu and them were already impatient. Yimo saw Li Yuqian, Li Jingguan, Jin Shaoshan, Suyu, Sheng Yizhong were all here and finally breathed easy. Li Yuqian was nascent soul state tertiary stage, and Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling were golden core state peak stage. Su Jingguan was the fastest. She was nascent soul state middle stage. The people gathered all talking about their own situation. Yimo also knew that after he left, the Black and White Pill Kings came to Peihai City but were sent off by Su Jianhu. He didn't really know how they knew about his heaven flame, but he wasn't afraid of 2 mere hollow spirit state cultivators. Yimo simply introduced the situation at South Peace State and said, I came back to bring you guys to South Peace State, but we have a MOU here too. If anyone wants to stay, I will hand MOU over to him to manage. If no one wants to stay, then we'll all go to MOU City and South Peace State together. Everyone fell silent. Clearly no one wanted to stay. Yimo saw this and knew everyone wanted to go South Peace State. However, Li Jingguan got up and said, Sect leader, I'm willing to stay here. When MOU grows, we must have our ground in the North Far State. If it wasn't for sect leader, I would be stuck in Golden Core State my entire life. Now, I'm nascent soul state. I'm very satisfied. Yimo knew he was very loyal and felt safe leaving MOU with him. With this, Suyu also stood up. Sheng Yizhong and I will also stay. I really like this place. there are a lot of cultivation resources for us too. Yemo could tell the two had some feelings for each other and agreed, okay, then you two stay and help Li Jingwen. Don't worry too much. I will set up a teleportation formation at MOU to South P State in the future. My formation skills aren't high enough yet, but once I will set up this teleportation formation. Then, everyone can come and go easily. Yemo felt the interstate teleportation formation took so many cultivation resources with each use, not just because of the distance, but also because there was no high-level formation master. Otherwise, even traveling from Luoyu to Earth wouldn't cost many resources. Yemo had 3 birth chant, and he believed he could set this up one day. Hearing this, more people were willing to stay. Yu Qiang was the closet to Li Jingwen and was a level 6 spirit pill master now. He also chose to stay, and so did Jin Shaoshan after some thought. In the next few days, Yemo stayed with Song Yangzhu and Su Jingwen. In the streets of Peihai City, Song Yangzhu and Su Jingwen were walking with Yemo slowly. After he came back, Song Yangzhu seemed very happy, but there was still a sliver of worry in her happiness. Yemo knew she was worried about Yemo. There was no news of Yemo ever since she came to North Far State. Don't worry, we'll go back first. I will find Yemo no matter what, Yemo said. After Peihai City settles, we'll go look for Yemo. No matter how big North Far State is, it's not as big as South P State. I have a half-immortal artifact. It won't take much time to go around North Far State a few times. Mitchum, Song Yangzhu nodded and suddenly said, let Jingwen stay with you tonight. Huh. Su Jingwen heard this and immediately blushed. These few days Su Jingwen was with Yemo. She regained her vitality that she had when she was in Ninghai. The only thing she was embarrassed to talk about was being real husband and wife with Yemo. But no matter how much she wanted it, she couldn't talk about it straight to Yemo, especially when Song Yangzhu was on the side. These few days Su Jingwen was with Yemo. She regained her vitality that she had when she was in Ninghai. The only thing she was embarrassed to talk about was being real husband and wife with Yemo. But no matter how much she wanted it, she couldn't talk about it straight to Yemo, especially when Song Yangzhu was on the side. But when Song Yangzhu really said it in front of her, she couldn't handle it. Yemo saw Su Jingwen's embarrassment and smiled, grabbing her hand. Yangzhu, you and Jingwen are the same to me as Susu and Qingxue. When we go back to Mou City, we will have another wedding just like the one in Luoyu City. Song Yangzhu's eyes showed surprise and joy. She was Yemo's first woman, but when Yemo got married, she could only hide and cry with Yemo. That sorrow was incomprehensible. Today, Yemo finally understood her and wanted to do a make-up wedding for her. This made her want to cry. She had always thought she was only Yemo's wife because of Yemo. Without Yemo, she would never be Yemo's wife. As a woman from Earth, she didn't yearn for cultivation, but only to stay with her husband forever. Husband. Song Yangzhu couldn't hold her excitement and cuddled into Yemo's arms. Go back with me. Song Yangzhu completely forgot Su Jingwen was on the side and murmured. Her body was even getting hot. Su Jingwen's face blushed red like a tomato. She didn't expect Song Yangzhu to be this open. Were all married women like this? She thought about it, and her body felt soft too. Yemo looked into the distant sky lost in thought. He thought of Mu Xiaoyun. But where was she? For Yemo, the last time he let loose was when he saw Susu and Qingxue a few years ago. Now, Song Yangzhu's passion almost ate him. For the first time, he eased up and slept an entire night. When the morning sun shone in, Yemo felt completely relaxed. He reached out and grabbed the soft body next to him. However, the body was a little stiff. He immediately laughed. Yangzhu, are you only so bold at night? Suddenly he felt this body wasn't Song Yangzhu's. The place he was holding was much bigger than Song Yangzhu. Yemo was shook, but a familiar body aroma smell came, and Yemo immediately knew who was in his arms. Jingwen? Mitchum. A mumble sounded. Jingwen was here. Yangzhu must have called her here. He didn't go think much and hugged Su Jingwen's stiff body. Su Jingwen only felt tense for a moment before she melted, and instead cuddled Yemo with more passion. Su Jingwen was a very conservative woman, but she was also a woman who only had one love. Before Yemo, she had never liked a man before. After she liked Yemo, She experienced all sorts of troubles from Ninghai to Luoyu City to the small world to Luoyu continent, chasing all the way here just for the Yimo she loved. Now in Yimo's arms, she released all these years of longing and desire. She crazily cuddled Yimo and kissed him as though trying to squeeze her entire body into Yimo. Yimo's heart rose with softness and love. He thought of that snowy day on the street. Su Jingwen seemed like a lonely scenery. She roamed on a street in a place she was unfamiliar with in the blizzard. He could never forget that. He could never forget how her eyes were still looking at him despite her being unconscious. Now, the woman was in his arms, but Yimo felt guilty. He felt he owed her a lot. A soft woman living on Earth had to stay in Peihai and fight spirit beasts every day. Su Jingwen had an extreme sense of satisfaction now. What are you thinking about? Su Jingwen saw Yimo look at her with loving eyes and hugged her so tight that she almost couldn't breathe. Yimo kissed her lips and said, I'm thinking about the snowing city, that lonely street. Su Jingwen's eyes turned miserable. When I first met you, I was in my home in a busy street. People flowed by. You were selling runes in one corner. At that time, you were not my scenery, but you saved my mother. The last time I saw you, I was alone in the street of another world. Snowflakes fell. You stood alone in the street waiting for the snow. At that time, you were the illusion in my heart. You let me leave without any last wishes. She never had thought that the last glance was no illusion. She really saw Yimo. Su Jingwen looked at Yimo's wet, guilty eyes and lay on him. She wiped his eyes and murmured, Take me. The morning ray grew brighter and brighter, mixed with Su Jingwen's low moans. It seemed more and more tranquil. When Su Jingwen and Yimo got out of the bedroom, Su Jingwen and them were already waiting for them in the hall. Song Yangzhu, Yiling, and them looked at Su Jingwen with a smile, making her blush hard. Even though she was nascent soul state, her first time made her legs soft and shaky. Jiling, Ming Hanan, as well as Peihai City Lord were all here. Even that elderly was here too. What happened? Yimo looked at them in confusion. Qizu quickly said in respect, Sect Leader Yi, if Jiling Qianbei didn't tell me, we still wouldn't know that Sect Leader Yi was also a formation grandmaster. It's like this, after discussion, we want to set up a top-grade level 9 defense formation in Peihai. Yimo smiled and nodded. Even if City Lord Qi didn't say it, I would still come help. MOU is still in Peihai. Peihai not only needs a defense formation, but I also plan to set up a level 9 attack formation. In the future, beast tides of this caliber can be ignored. Hearing this, Qizu said in joy, if it's really so, then Peihai City would be very safe, probably safer than Broken Leaf City. Qizu thought of something and quickly said, according to the news we got, the beast tide leaving Broken Leaf City was related to us. Yimo nodded. He also felt there was definitely some connection. While they were discussing how to set up the defense formation, Li Jingwen quickly walked in and said quietly, Sect Leader, Wang Yu Sect sent a flying sword. Their sect leader Shandi invited Sect Leader to go to Wang Yu Sect. His tone doesn't seem very nice. Yimo sneered. He hated these old people putting on airs. Shandi had a deal with him, but he didn't stick to it, and even helped people attack MOU. Yimo wouldn't believe he didn't know about Yi coming here. This guy was no different to that Zhang Changfeng. How did he have the face to call him over? Who did he think he was? Thinking about this, Yimo sneered. I will go over, but not now. After I'm done with Peihai City, I will go to Wang Yu Sect and kill that Yi for Li Qishan. 10 days later, outside a small town in North Far State, a young man and woman walked in. These two were Yimo and Su Jingwen. This town was the place Su Jingwen and Yimo stayed before, the place where Yimo was taken away. 10 days later, outside a small town in North Far State, a young man and woman walked in. These two were Yimo and Su Jingwen. This town was the place Su Jingwen and Yimo stayed before, the place where Yimo was taken away. They didn't know how long it would take to find Yimo, so Song Yangzhu and Yiling stayed in MOU. Yimo left behind a spirit marrow pond for them to break through to nascent soul state. There was Meng Hanan protecting them. The town was very old, but Yimo saw the two words, water lily, outside the town. Jingwen, you and Yimo lived in here for a while? Yemo asked. Machim. Su Jingwen leaned on Yemo and answered. When we came here, we didn't know anyone, so we stayed here. Then, we went outside the town to practice some magic until that day. Yemo was taken disciple by that cultivator. Then I went to Fuamo City alone. Fuamo City was destroyed, so then I went to Jiangchuan City and met you. Yemo scanned with spirit sense inside the town. They were all ordinary people. He said to Su Jingwen, Jingwen, take me to the place where Yemo was practicing lightning magic. The two turned away, but soon, two figures landed in front of them. Yemo already recognized one of them. There was one man and one woman. The woman was very pretty, just a little bit less pretty than Su Jingwen. She was Golden Core State Level 6. The man was very handsome and was Golden Core State Peak Stage. Yi, stop. The female cultivator blocked Yemo's way and stared at him. What are you doing here? Then, she saw Su Jingwen and felt a little shocked. She clearly felt Su Jingwen was prettier than her. Yemo frowned and said coldly, What does that have to do with you? I feel strange. Last time I saw it was Yuruyu next to you. How come you changed someone today? She was the Haitong that he met at the South Mountain Market, the sect member of 5-star sect duo Heart Valley. Yemo remembered she had a brother called Hyexian. This man with her wasn't Hyexian. He became friends with Yuruyu, and Yuruyu gave him a low-grade star sand. That Yuruyu was too honest and let this Han Tong have it her way for everything. Now, she was with some other male cultivator. Yemo quite approved of Yuruyu, but he was just too honest. Hearing this, the male cultivator frowned but didn't talk. He couldn't tell Yemo or Su Jingwen's power, but Su Jingwen was indeed prettier than Haitong. Clearly she had no simple origin, so he didn't say anything. But he could tell both of them were very young. Perhaps the two had some stealth cultivation method, and that's why he couldn't see their power. It wasn't that their power was higher than his. His talent was very good and came from a big sect. It was very hard to surpass him for people around his age. Haitong sneered. Don't say shit. I have nothing to do with you, Ruyu. Yemo seemed to breathe easy and nodded. That's great. I was scared that brother you took the wrong girl and ruined his life. It's good that he stopped and left you. Then, Yemo couldn't be bothered talking to her anymore and said, Jingwen, take me to that small mountain. Machim. Su Jingwen agreed and held Yemo's hands and they turned away. Haitong didn't like seeing Su Jingwen being so gentle to Yemo and suddenly said, You think you're good because you have a stealth cultivation method, so I can't see your power? After all these years, don't tell me you're still Foundation Establishment State? However, Yemo still ignored her, so she said grumpily, Even if you don't tell me, I know you're going to All Herb Mountain Range. And you must apologize to me first, or you won't be able to leave. Go to All Herb Mountain Range for what? Yemo just wanted to ask when that male cultivator stopped in front of Yemo, You're rude. Apologize to her before you go. He wasn't concerned with him now that Haitong exposed his past. Yemo looked at this Golden Core State male cultivator and felt strange. He was a cauldron-filling state and was now stopped by a Golden Core State who was trying to force him to apologize. He glared at this male cultivator. You really want me to apologize? If you're not deaf, then do as Sister Tong said, the male cultivator said calmly. Yemo suddenly smiled. I know how to act cool more than you. I won't apologize, but I have a slap. Seeing that Yemo was going to fight, the male cultivator was immediately going to release his magic artifact, but he soon realized that he couldn't move at all. Slap Yemo's slap sent him flying a few hundred meters away, landing in a ravine. He then spat out more than 10 teeth. The calm look disappeared from his face. Instead, it was now full of shock. Slapping him a few hundred meters away just with a cultivation essence hand and binding him at the same time. What power was this? Nascent soul state? Definitely not. Hollow spirit state? Definitely not either. When he realized Yemo was probably body condensation state or above, there was extreme anxiety in his eyes. He offended a body condensation state cultivator. Even if he killed him, his sect wouldn't offend a body condensation state for him. Yemo shook his head and looked coldly at Haitong. On Yuruyu's account, I'll let you go again today. You should feel lucky you met me. If it was someone else, you would already be dead. Perhaps if you met someone else, you would know how important Yuruyu is to you before you die. Seeing the two leave, Hai Tong reacted and felt her face. She felt lucky but was extremely shocked at Yimo's power. Yimo was clearly above hollow spirit state, and the strongest person in her sect was only hollow spirit state. She understood what Yuruyu meant. When he was with her, he solved the many troubles she caused, just like at the market last time when she kept looking for trouble with Yimo. Hai Tong felt bad the more she thought about it. Before, she thought Yuruyu was a coward, apologizing to everyone. She felt Yuruyu lost face for the magical sword sect. Then, she stayed with core disciple of 6-star sect Luo Tan sword sect, Gu Mingsu. She experienced what it was like to do as she pleased. But was that really good? They taught a lesson to those weaker than him. If they met someone as powerful as Yimo, he might kill them on a whim. Hai Tong shivered. If Yimo wanted to kill her, there was nothing she could do. He might be able to annihilate her entire sect. Now, she didn't feel good about doing what she wanted. She just felt scared. Su Jingwen and Yimo stood at the top of a small hill. Yimo picked up a small rock. There were marks on it. Su Jingwen said this was left by Yimo cultivating her lightning-style cultivation method. Yimo looked at the burnt rock. Look at the peak opposite. It's not tall, but it was shattered in one palm by the cultivator who took Yimo. Su Jingwen pointed. Yimo looked at the distance and the area and knew that the cultivator was at least cauldron-filling state tertiary stage. Su Jingwen looked below and said, "The female cultivator came back again. What does she want to do?" Even Su Jingwen knew that female cultivator's attitude was wrong. If she continued like this, she would suffer. Yimo smiled. "Let's go. I have a headache seeing this woman who thinks she's #1 in the world. It's good that Yuruyu left someone like her." Su Jingwen smiled and held Yimo's arm. They got on Zisu and Zisu darted into the sky, disappearing. As soon as Hai Tong got to the foot of the mountain, she saw Yimo disappear with that woman. She realized how arrogant and stupid she was and came to apologize, but Yimo didn't even want to see her and left. Not everyone treated her as queen. The only one was Yuruyu, that dummy. Now Gu Mingsu also flew towards here, calling her name. Hai Tong looked back at this Gu Mingsu who always taught other cultivators a lesson and felt annoyed. She ignored him and flew off in the direction Yimo had left. "Where are we going?" Su Jingwen asked softly. She really wanted to stand in that street she met Yimo on for a while. Just a while was good. She was grateful to that street. That snowy day that allowed her to find Yimo. Yimo also wanted to go there, but hearing Hai Tong's words, he suddenly wanted to go to All Herb Mountain Range. In the depths, there was a terrifying being. Yimo still felt fear even now. If Fate Zijiang didn't find people to come there, he would be trapped in that hexagonal hall forever. He wondered if those nascent soul state cultivators ever came out. "Let's go All Herb Mountain Range and see first. I'm not sure of where Yimo is right now yet. Let's go see what happened at All Herb Mountain Range first," Yimo said. It was like finding a needle in the ocean to find Yimo in the huge North Far State. Yimo put away Zisu and took out his self-made low-grade flying cultivation artifact. He made this type to be the enjoyment-type magic artifact. There was a huge platform at the front of the magic artifact with a wooden table. Yimo and Su Jingwen sat by the side drinking spirit tea while watching the clouds. It was very enjoyable. "It'll be so good one day if we can sit on our own flying cultivation artifact and fly back to Ninghai," Su Jingwen said. She was very happy being with Yimo, but she missed her mother. Yimo held her hands and said, "That day will come. Don't worry. If Chujiu could go back to Earth, so can we." I believe you," Su Jingwen said. The flying magic artifact only flew for 2 hours, and there was an increase in cultivators on the way. But they didn't even dare to go near Yimo's flying magic artifact. At this moment, Yimo was sure something happened in the All Herb Mountain Range. They were all flying towards it. Yimo sped up, and when he flew next to an extreme-grade flying spirit artifact, Yimo waved and said to the cultivator, "Friend, I have something to ask." This cultivator was nascent soul state middle stage. When he saw Yimo was using a low-grade flying cultivation artifact and he couldn't see through Yimo's power at all, he knew Yimo's power was far higher than his. He quickly slowed down his flying spirit artifact and saluted with his fists. Bei, what do you need to ask? Yemo nodded. Why are so many cultivators go to All Herb Mountain Range now? The cultivator answered, a few days ago, the All Herb Mountain Range's earth cracked open and the entire All Herb Mountain Range was uprooted. Some peaks became valleys, some lakes became peaks. Yemo was shook. Did something happen to that hexagonal hall? That was a seal. If the seal was broken, would that spirit body come out? That guy was no simple person. Otherwise, why would he have a heaven-grade mobility technique or level 10 material? Yemo was worried as he had enmity with that guy. He took a lot of that guy's things, but didn't help him at all. The nascent soul state cultivator quickly said, Bei, is there some problem? Yemo asked again. Earth-shattering happens frequently in some mountain ranges. There's no need to go see every time, right? The nascent soul state quickly said again, I heard that a lot of things that didn't belong to the All Herb Mountain Range appeared. There are all sorts of ores, spirit herbs, and some people even found the level 9 spirit herb Truth Spirit Herb, as well as many more level 8 spirit herbs. This happened? Yemo was shook. The nascent soul state nodded. Bei, this is definitely real. All these cultivators are going there for these spirit herbs and ores. Thank you. Yemo saluted with his fists and then pulled Su Jingwen out, releasing Blue Moon. Seeing the blue ray Blue Moon made, this nascent soul state looked dazedly at the trail thinking, this is probably an extreme grade flying cultivation artifact. This is the first time I've seen one. What happened? Su Jingwen asked. Changing flying magic artifacts made their speed hundreds of times faster. Yemo nodded seriously. I'm scared of something happening. If it really did, it won't be good. In just half an hour, a huge mountain range appeared before him. Even with his spirit sense, he couldn't scan for even 1,000th of the mountain range. He had come here more than once, but it had changed greatly. Yemo saw countless cultivators searching the outskirts for something. There were even more than 10 hollow spirit state cultivators. Yemo's Blue Moon immediately caught everyone's attention. After all, it was not only high level but also pretty. However, no one dared to come up and talk. After all, they couldn't even see Yemo's power level, not even the hollow spirit state cultivators. However, one white-faced skinny old man appeared before Yemo and Su Jingwen. His eyes seemed narrow, and he seemed harmless. But Yemo knew this old man was no good person. He was Sima Zhu, the guy called White Half-Pill King. He hated Yemo to the bones. Yemo knew the reason Sima Zhu dared to come over was because he was only Foundation Establishment State before. Seeing Sima Zhu walk towards Yemo, all the cultivators looked over. The other hollow spirit state cultivators were also surprised. Even they couldn't see Yemo's power. How did Sima Zhu dare to look for trouble with Yemo? The flying magic artifact was good, but he needed the power to steal it. Haha, the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame #1 is indeed different. This stealth cultivation method makes even me unable to see your power. Yemo, this is your wife, right? She's very pretty. Sigh, what a pity. Sima Zhu shook his head. Haha, the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame #1 is indeed different. This stealth cultivation method makes even me unable to see your power. Yemo, this is your wife, right? She's very pretty. Sigh, what a pity. Sima Zhu shook his head. Hearing this, all the cultivators realized that Yemo was using a stealth cultivation method. No wonder Sima Zhu dared to go up. Those few hollow spirit state cultivators regretted immediately. If they knew this, they would have gone up already. Sima Zhu grew strong rapidly these few years. He was hollow spirit state level 8 now. Ordinary hollow spirit state didn't dare to do anything to him. Plus, there was the rule of being first. Thus, despite knowing the flying magic artifact might be an extreme grade cultivation artifact, they could only watch. Sima Zhu's tone changed. That old man Su Jianhu tricked me saying you went to South Peace State. Hee, you're back quick. But your wife's power grows fast. She's nascent soul state middle stage already. Yemo looked calm and didn't do anything. He was waiting for Tong Wuxing. Tong Wuxing was also here, but this idiot Sima Zhu didn't realize. When they came, he needed to ask the two where they got the book thing. Yemo also saw another cauldron-filling state peak stage cultivator looking over, but he hid his power level. Cauldron-filling state peak stage cultivators were very rare in North Far State. Even though he showed his power to be hollow spirit state tertiary stage, he couldn't hide anything from Emo. Seeing that Emo didn't talk, Sima Zhu suddenly said coldly, "You took my book and that rare flame in the Changfeng Valley, right? Give it to me, take out your storage ring, and slice off an arm." Sima Zhu laughed. "You know why I let you live? Because you brought a good wife, so you saved yourself." Emo wanted to wait for Tong Wuxing to come over first, but since Sima Zhu wanted to die quickly and insult Su Jingwen, he couldn't hold back anymore. He took out a glove and put it on. Then he said coldly, "Sima Zhu, you know why I'm wearing a glove?" Sima Zhu was dazed, but before he could react, Emo grabbed Sima Zhu's neck and wrung it in the air before saying coldly, "Because I'm afraid your neck would dirty my hands." Sima Zhu was no longer arrogant like before. His face was in utter shock. He had never thought that a foundation establishment state a few years ago would be this terrifying. He couldn't resist at all. What power was this? Body condensation state? Cauldron-filling state? Or disaster transformation state? He saw Emo reach his hand over, but he couldn't move. The rest of the hollow spirit state cultivators were all shocked and rejoiced at not going up. Emo looked coldly at him. "You're right. I took all those things, but what can you do? You can't see my power, but it's not because I'm hiding it. It's because I've progressed a lot, but it seems you haven't progressed much. You were hollow spirit state level 6 before, and now you're barely hollow spirit state level 8. Sima Zhu, have you been living like a dog?" "Yes, Qian Bei." "Qian Bei." Sima Zhu couldn't even speak properly. He was trembling. He knew he was done for. But Emo called to another cultivator, "Tong Wuxing, come over." Tong Wuxing was on par with Sima Zhu in both pill concoction skills and power. He saw Emo clench Sima Zhu's neck as soon as he got off his flying magic artifact and was very shocked. Before he could react, Emo called him over. Without hesitation, he released his magic artifact, wanting to run. But as soon as he released his flying magic artifact, a lightning bolt appeared, blasting his flying magic artifact. Emo said coldly, "If you dare to run away, then don't come over. I'll send you off." Tong Wuxing shivered and walked to Emo, bowing. "Yi Qian Bei, Wan Bei." Tong Wuxing was blind and didn't see you here. "I heard you went with this trash to Pei High City to find me?" Emo asked coldly. "Qian Bei is mistaken. How would I dare to find Qian Bei? This Sima Zhu provoked me to go, but I didn't do anything in Pei High City," Tong Wuxing quickly said. "Oh." Emo looked at Tong Wuxing in confusion. "But the rare flame and thing is all on me. Don't you guys want it?" Tong Wuxing trembled, thinking, would I dare to ask for it? But he quickly said, "Qian Bei, that belongs to you. How would I dare to ask for it?" Then he pointed at Sima Zhu. "This old man Sima is very evil. He liked his little martial sister. She didn't want to marry him, so he killed her man and raped her." Emo's eyes flashed with disgust and threw Sima Zhu down. "Where did you guys find that book? If there's one word I'm not happy with, I'll kill you. I'll say it, in South Mountain Market. We saw it in a stall and fought over it. We took half each. Then we wanted to ask that stall owner, but he was already gone." Tong Wuxing frowned. Emo frowned. He knew it was impossible to find the source of the book after all these years. He looked coldly at the two and said, "You two fight now. I can consider letting the winner leave." Before Emo finished talking, Sima Zhu released his dark net while Tong Wuxing was on par, and more than 10 flying sword flew out of his sleeve. Seeing this, Emo could tell just how sneaky these two were. The two didn't dare to hold back at all. Even though they knew Emo was considering letting the winner leave, they didn't dare to have any objections. Sima Zhu's net was much more powerful than before and wanted to trap Tong Wuxing's flying swords, but the two fought a lot, and Tong Wuxing knew how to counterattack. The two were getting farther and farther away. Emo sneered. They wanted to play this trick with him. When they were both 1,000 meters away from Emo, they both spat blood and used blood mobility. Before they could finish it, Emo raised his hand and 2 lightning swords flew over. The two were burnt to crisps, and even their souls were disintegrated. The rest of the cultivators took a cold breath in. This was too powerful. 2 lightning arcs killing 2 hollow spirit state tertiary stage. Those cultivators didn't even dare to look at Emo anymore. The hidden cauldron-filling state tertiary stage saw Emo's lightning arc and his eyes spasmed. It was a lightning cultivator reaching cauldron-filling state, and who could use such powerful lightning arcs? This was too shocking. At this moment, that calm valley made a huge explosion again. Countless pebbles and weeds was blasted into the air. A nascent soul state picked up the spirit herb in front of him and said in shock, "Level 8 spirit herb, Jieshang?" Almost everyone looked at the spirit herb in his hand, but Emo frowned at the direction of the explosion. It was the place of the seal. Soon, some cultivators found more spirit herbs blasted out. They were at least level 6. The cultivators here were sent into a frenzy. Soon, some cultivators found more spirit herbs blasted out. They were at least level 6. The cultivators here were sent into a frenzy. All the cultivators realized now that what was important weren't the spirit herbs in someone else's hands, but to go inside and look for more. All the cultivators rushed in. But moments later, howls of pain sounded. Those cultivators came back out, and those cultivators who didn't make it in time were killed by space wind blades, or sucked away by void fissures. Emo was shook. He knew these weren't naturally formed. This was a space attack formation. After the formation was broken, the wind blades ravaged everywhere. Once these attacks disappeared, he would go in again. Emo was shook that he came here before, but didn't know why space attack formation appeared. Those cultivators knew there were a lot of good things here, but ordinary cultivators couldn't take on space wind blades. After they came out, they didn't dare to go back in again and just scavenged for spirit herbs outside. Emo didn't know if the sealed ancient being had been released. He knew that if the being came out, there was nothing even he could do. At this moment, there were 2 more flying lights landing outside. Emo saw they were 2 flying magic artifacts. The left one was a middle-grade flying cultivation artifact. 2 women got off the left one. Emo knew one of them. It was that Haitong, but there was an extremely pretty woman next to her. She was on par with Haitong, but her body was more perfect than her face. He was sure this woman's body was the second most perfect he had seen. The first was Qingru he had seen in the Ice God Forbidden Grounds. Even though Qingru was lifeless at that time, he had to admit she was the most perfect woman he had seen. This woman with Haitong, her looks were far cry from Qingru. Her looks dragged her whole aesthetics down, but the beauty of her body was disjointed from the beauty of her face. Her face was still very pretty, however. Emo noticed this woman because she showed her power to be Hollow Spirit State Peak Stage, but her actual power was Cauldron Filling State Level 8. She wasn't old, and yet she had reached Cauldron Filling State Level 8 at such an age. Emo sighed. Even the North Far State was full of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. He looked right. 1 man and woman got off. The female cultivator was very young, but the male cultivator was a bit older. He also knew 1 person from those 2. He knew that young female cultivator. Her name was Zhou Yushuang. He knew her because when he came to the hexagonal hall, there were 4 golden core state cultivators there. Luo Yuping wanted to kill the 3, but Zhou Yushuang used a level 8 space transmission rune to get away. He was sure that Zhou Yushuang wouldn't know him as he left after she did. What shook him was the man next to her. He was Cauldron Filling State Peak Stage, but hid his power to Hollow Spirit State Level 6. Emo saw 3 Cauldron Filling State cultivators now, and they all hid their power. Only he didn't hide his power. He was Cauldron Filling State Level 7, and he showed his power to be Cauldron Filling State Level 7. Haitong saw Emo, and Su Jingwen immediately and quickly came over and bowed. "Thank you, Brother Yi, for your forgiveness and persuasion. Haitong understands now. I apologize for my extreme rudeness before. Please forgive me." Emo looked at her in surprise. She could wake up after what he casually said? In his eyes, she was beyond help. He was more scorning her than teaching her. Since she already said this, Emo wasn't going to put on a stern face and tell her to piss off. He nodded and didn't say anything. To be honest, he really didn't want Yuruyu to be with this woman. Who knew if she was only changing for the moment and would go back to who she was after a while? "Haitong, is this your friend? Why don't you introduce him?" The woman with Haitong smiled and came over too. Yemo studied this woman and finally realized why she seemed disjointed. She was wearing a top-grade stealth magic artifact. This meant this woman not only hid her power, but also hid her looks. Haitong quickly said, "Sister Xiao Yi, this is the brother Yemo I told you I was going to apologize to. Brother Yi, this is Sister Xiao Yi. I met her on the way. She was very nice, so she brought me here." Yemo shook his head. This Haitong was white like paper. She didn't hide anything she was going to do. No wonder she did all those crazy things. No wonder she didn't have a real friend after all those years. "Brother Yi, Sister Yi," Xiaoyi said politely. Yemo nodded. He had an extreme sense of discomfort with this Xiao Yi. He couldn't tell the feeling, but 3-birth chant was usually never wrong. He felt this Xiaoyi was no more than 30 years old, but Yemo felt her eyes were older than Menghanan. This was very strange. Seeing that Yemo didn't introduce Su Jingwen, Xiaoyi smiled and didn't mind. The rumbling in the all-herb mountain range stopped, and those space wind blades and void fissures disappeared. The cultivators slowly wanted to go back in and see again. Haitong suddenly looked at Yemo. "Brother Yi, do you want to go in and have a look?" Yemo looked at her, then Xiaoyi, and suddenly said, "Haitong, if you trust me, go back to your sect. It's not suitable for you here, at least not now." Huh. Haitong blushed. She felt she came to apologize, but Yemo wasn't being very polite. But instantly, she felt she shouldn't think like that. She came to apologize. If she cared about that, she would be the same as before. Thinking about this, Haitong sighed and said with red eyes, "Thank you, Brother Yi. Perhaps it's really not suitable for me outside. I'm going back. Take care, Brother Yi." Then, she said to Xiaoyi, "Sister Xiaoyi, I'm going. If you have time, you can come play at Dual Heart Valley." Xiaoyi quickly said, "Don't be in a rush to go. There might be a lot of good things here." Haitong shook her head and took out a top-grade flying spirit artifact and then left. Seeing this, Xiaoyi forced a smile and said, "Haitong is very naive. I can protect her here." Yemo sneered. Naive was a nice way of saying it. The mean way of saying it was that she was an idiot. "But you're not simple." Su Jingwen pulled Yemo's hand and said, "Yemo, would your words be a bit?" Yemo smiled. "No." Then, the cultivators made another ruckus. Yemo scanned with spirit sense and found that the space formation door was gone. A long stairway appeared before them. Yemo was too familiar with it. It was here when he followed Zhou Yushuang and them. The stealth formation was gone. The space formation door was gone. There were just purely stairs. All the cultivators ran onto the stairs. The stealth formation was gone. The space formation door was gone. There were just purely stairs. All the cultivators ran onto the stairs. Yemo saw the cauldron-filling state level 9 also went in. When Yemo wanted to bring Su Jingwen in as well, he heard Zhou Yushuang tell the cauldron-filling state peak stage cultivator, "Master, it's this place. The stealth formation was gone last time, and we didn't find the space formation door, but now this place blasted out for some reason." She was only nascent soul state level 3, so Yemo heard everything she said. The master agreed and said after a while, "Let's go down too." Yemo suddenly realized it was no wonder she had a level 8 space transmission rune when she was golden core state. She had a powerful master. Seeing them two go down, Yemo brought Su Jingwen down as well. At this moment, Xiaoyi came and asked softly, "Brother Yi, can I go with you too?" Yemo looked at her and nodded. "Of course, anyone can go down here." Xiaoyi nodded obediently and carefully followed behind Yemo. Yemo sneered and protected Su Jingwen. This woman hid her face in power. Regardless of what she wanted, it made Yemo feel vigilant. Going down to the bottom of the stairs, there was still the same door. It was wide open now, and many cultivators had gone in. Yemo and Su Jingwen walked to the door but found Zhou Yushuang and her master didn't go in. They were watching on the side. Yemo took Su Jingwen in without hesitation. Zhou Yushuang was probably scared they couldn't come out. Her master didn't go in for some other reason. No matter what, Yemo wouldn't care. This seal was open. All formations were destroyed. There was no way that people wouldn't be able to get out. Yemo went inside the hall and saw 4 bodies. They were the 4 cultivators looking for Fate Zijiang. It seemed they died as well. Their storage rings were all taken by the cultivators who came in first. Emo looked away and wanted to find if the explosion was related to this place, and why there were suddenly so many spirit herbs and ores. However, he felt something was wrong. Even if the four couldn't get out, they wouldn't die. He had seen that spirit body. He sounded like he was very powerful, but Emo knew if the people in the hall ignored him, there was nothing he could do to the cultivators in the hall. Then, how did the four nascent soul state cultivators die? Emo looked at the four cultivators again and found in shock that their positions were very eerie, happening to form a four abyss blood-devouring formation. This was a demonic formation that used cultivators' essence blood as a lead and extreme-grade spirit herb as supplements. The only purpose of the formation was to use the cultivators' essence blood and spirit herbs to build a body. Usually, only essence spirits or souls would use such formation. It had a similar effect to immortal curl flower, but way weaker. The body made with immortal curl flower was much stronger. Emo looked at this and thought of the soul in the hall. He used these four nascent soul state cultivators to set up the formation and then built his body before leaving here. But then Emo shook his head. The seal here hadn't been touched. Even if he could set up the formation, he wouldn't be able to leave here. Emo looked around and didn't see any abnormalities, meaning that the spirit herbs didn't come from here. The four nascent soul state cultivators were really idiots. A soul that couldn't come out tricked them into setting up this demonic formation. Emo was speechless. There were more and more people here. Emo knew that without his nine-forked key, these people wouldn't be able to open the seal, but there was no way he was taking the key out. Thinking about this, Emo subconsciously looked at the key ring. It had turned dark red, and he was dazed again. He could clearly tell the dark red color was due to blood. The people started to complain, seeing there was nothing they could take away. Emo turned around and looked at the positions of the nascent soul state bodies again, and he began to sweat. He saw wrong. This wasn't a four abyss devouring blood formation. It was four elements break position formation. It was similar to the previous one, and was the blood sacrifice formation Luo Yuping had set up. Clearly, this wasn't to build a body, but to break the seal. Thinking that the terrifying guy here might have already unlocked the seal and left, Emo felt shivers down his spine. If this guy found him, he would be dead. If that soul really left here, it might be due to him helping him. He loosened this seal with the key, and thus the break position formation was useful. What are you thinking? Su Jingwen shook Emo's arms and asked. Just when he wanted to reply, he heard a loud explosion. A hollow spirit state was attacking the ring. The other cultivators all attacked it too. Emo didn't know if the ring still had defensive capabilities after the seal was broken, but then there was a loud explosion and the key ring was completely shattered. A dark abyssal door appeared before everyone. The cultivators were dazed and immediately rejoiced. They thought they had broken into the secret vault. A few nascent soul state cultivators charged in, but instantly they flew back out. When they came out, they were filled with thousands of holes. Those cultivators who wanted to go in all stopped in their steps, but the attacks didn't stop because of that. Countless wind blades and sword chi flew out, covering the entire hexagonal hall. Emo immediately released his octagonal cauldron to protect him and Su Jingwen. Countless cultivators were torn apart by the wind blades and sword chi. Screams filled the hall. Some lucky cultivators charged out of the hall, but some unlucky ones were annihilated. Fortunately, this didn't last long, and 8 minutes later, they all disappeared. The hall wasn't full anymore. There were just about 30 to 40 cultivators left. Most of them were injured. In that short time, 200 or so cultivators had been killed. Those weaker nascent soul state cultivators immediately charged out of the hall upon seeing that the wind blades and sword chi had disappeared. Even some hollow spirit state primary stage cultivators left. The ruin was good, but they needed to be alive to enjoy it. Emo looked at the cultivators still inside the hall. Most were hollow spirit state middle stage or tertiary stage. The cauldron-filling state level 9 just used an ordinary defense magic artifact, and Zhou Yushuang's master only used a simple barrier. Xiaoyi used a leaf-like magic artifact. Emo looked at the cultivators still inside the hall. Most were hollow spirit state middle stage or tertiary stage. The cauldron-filling state level 9 just used an ordinary defense magic artifact, and Zhou Yushuang's master only used a simple barrier. Xiaoyi used a leaf-like magic artifact. These wind blades posed no threat to cauldron-filling state cultivators at all. Yimo scanned his spirit sense into the dark door, but found he could only scan about 10 meters into it. There must be a spirit sense barrier formation there. Yimo was sure that the soul had long left the seal. Yimo was worried about that guy, but he knew that at least for a short, while he wouldn't be looking for trouble with him, the first thing he would be doing after getting free was finding a body to possess, or rebuilding a body. Who wants to team up with me? That hollow spirit state middle stage scanned the tunnel and asked. As soon as he said that, another 3 hollow spirit state cultivators came out and the 4 formed a group. Then they released their magic artifacts and went into the tunnel. The people outside scanned their spirit sense in and saw more space wind blades and sword chi arose, but it didn't cause them much damage. Soon, they disappeared from everyone's spirit sense, but there was no sound as well. With them succeeding, the rest of the hollow spirit state cultivators all formed groups. Yimo saw that cauldron-filling state level 9 also found a group and went in. Zhou Yushuang's master looked for a team with Zhou Yushuang, but no one wanted to group up with them. He only showed hollow spirit state middle stage power, and he brought along a useless Zhou Yushuang. As for Yimo, no one dared to make a team with him. Everyone knew he was the strongest here. He was body condensation state. Who dared to team up with him? Zhou Yushuang's master couldn't be bothered finding a team, so he just took Zhou Yushuang in. This made some hollow spirit state primary stage, and even nascent soul state tertiary stage cultivators keen to try. If Zhou Yushuang, a nascent soul state primary stage cultivator, and a hollow spirit state cultivator could go in, they could too. But soon, they found they were wrong. For nascent soul state tertiary stage cultivators formed a group, and they only walked less than 10 meters before they were torn apart. Brother Yi, can I form a group with you? Xiaoyi asked shyly. Yimo smiled. I would, but I won't be able to protect you. I need to protect my wife. Xiaoyi quickly said, I don't need you to protect me. I'm hollow spirit state peak stage. I can pass this myself. Yimo frowned. If you can pass yourself, then why do you want to team up with me? Xiaoyi smiled awkwardly. That's true. I thought the same as them. It seems I really don't need a group. I'll go first, then Brother Yi. Then, Xiaoyi walked into that dark tunnel. Yimo, I feel that something is wrong with that woman, but I can't tell exactly, Su Jingwen said. Yimo sound transmissioned. Jingwen, you're right. She's very powerful. She's already cauldron-filling state level 8. She's using a stealth cultivation method and is wearing a mask too. I don't know what she wants to do. Almost all the cultivators had left in the hall. Yimo also took Su Jingwen to go into that tunnel too. The space wind blades and sword chi shot onto the octagonal cauldron and didn't affect them at all. Soon, they walked into an even bigger hall. There was nothing inside, but at the very end, there was a gray barrier. Spirit sense couldn't scan inside. The people who came in before didn't move and just looked at it. There were 13 hollow spirit state cultivators here and the cauldron-filling state cultivators, as well as Yimo and Su Jingwen. The only person who didn't hide his power was Yimo. He showed cauldron-filling state level 7, but only those 3 cauldron-filling state could see his power level. One hollow spirit state tertiary stage saluted with his fists to Yimo, Qian Bei. There's a gray barrier here. It's probably a defense formation. We can open it now, if there are good things inside. Qian Bei can get 50%, and we'll split up the remaining half. Would Qian Bei be happy with that? Yimo finally realized why the hollow spirit state cultivators who came in before didn't do anything. They were worried about him. Yimo liked cultivators who knew their place, so he nodded. That's perfect. I'll take half. It's not something I can care about if you guys can split the remaining half evenly. Hearing this, the cauldron-filling state level 9 and Zhou Yushuang's master smirked. Only Xiaoyi looked the same as before. Zhou Yushuang looked at Yimo and shook her head. She considered Yimo dead already. She knew that whatever her master wanted, no one could take away. This young person might be body condensation state, but 50% was too much for him to handle. Her master didn't tell her Yimo's power. The hollow spirit state tertiary stage heard this and immediately looked happy. Wanbei is very happy with Qianbei's words. We'll split everything else based on our power. I believe no one will be unhappy. Let's attack. The hollow spirit state tertiary stage waved out his magic artifact. With a rumble, his mountain seal struck the gray barrier and made it wobble. Seeing this, everyone else took out their magic artifacts and attacked the barrier, causing ripples to form on it. Yemo didn't do anything. Since everyone treated him as the number one master, he needed to act like one. The most powerful Qianbei here didn't need to do such small things. With so many cultivators attacking, the barrier only lasted 8 minutes before cracking and disappearing. Once it disappeared, 7 golden balls appeared. When Yemo scanned his spirit sense inside, he took a cold breath in. What seal was this? How are there such good things? The first orb had 3 extreme-grade cultivation artifacts, 3 heaven-grade level 7 cultivation methods. The second orb had 2 extreme-grade cultivation artifacts, 1 heaven-grade level 8 cultivation method, and 1 armor. The third orb had a pill bottle with the words Truth Carrot Pill, as well as a heaven-grade level 9 cultivation method. As for the fourth orb, an orange flame floated above the cauldron, which was obviously an extreme-grade cultivation artifact. The flame was Truth May Flame. It was ranked 8th amongst the heaven flames. The fifth orb was only a cultivation method, but when he saw it, even Yemo sighed. It was an immortal grade level 1 cultivation method. The sixth orb was a low-grade defense immortal artifact, Worm Scale Shield. The seventh orb only had 3 crystals, but when Yemo saw them, his eyes almost popped out. They had a spirit attribute circulating through them. They were more precious than extreme-grade spirit stones. He had never seen them, but he guessed they were either extreme-grade crystals or low-grade immortal crystals. Even Yemo couldn't control himself, much less the other people here. One hollow spirit state primary stage forgot he was the weakest here and charged up to the first orb, wanting to grab it. Before he touched it, a huge power flicked him back, causing him to crash into the wall. He spat mouthfuls of blood. Then he remembered that he might not even be able to touch a part of these things. No one cared about this hollow spirit state who was flicked away by the light orb. Everyone just stared inside the 7 transparent yellow light orbs. If they just got one of the light orbs, it would be a huge fortune. Even truth realization state cultivators would drool over such things. No one cared about this hollow spirit state who was flicked away by the light orb. Everyone just stared inside the 7 transparent yellow light orbs. If they just got one of the light orbs, it would be a huge fortune. Even truth realization state cultivators would drool over such things. Hearing the heavy panting, Yemo knew that bloodshed was to follow. That hollow spirit state tertiary stage woke up and said, "Friends, we have a Qianbei here. We'll let him choose any of the first 3, and then choose half from the 4th. Then we can split the rest. Does everyone agree?" No one replied. Clearly no one agreed to this. Yemo's power was high, but he was at most a body condensation state cultivator. There were more than 10 hollow spirit state cultivators here. If they joined up, he might not be a match for them. The main thing was that the things inside the orbs were too shocking. Who would be willing to give it away? Almost all the cultivators left Yemo now and looked at him warily. They stood together in case Yemo tried to kill them one by one. Yemo smiled and didn't move at all. The 3 cauldron-filling state also showed frenzied eyes. They didn't move either. They'd seen all too much. Why would they move before someone else? 3 cauldron-filling state tertiary stage and 13 hollow spirit state cultivators. Yemo really wasn't afraid of them attacking him altogether. He was just scared that if he didn't take care of Su Jingwen, it wouldn't be good. Ha ha ha, a coarse voice sounded. "I'll take 5 of the 7 orbs." That voice said this and was about to grab the orbs. Everyone saw it was a hollow spirit state tertiary stage cultivator. A few hollow spirit state cultivators wanted to get near him and stop him. But that hollow spirit state tertiary stage didn't even use his magic artifact and just used a few hand signs, and those cultivators were stopped. Soon, those hollow spirit state cultivators were thrown away onto the rock wall. However, their necks were twisted and they had stopped breathing. The cultivators saw this and all took a cold breath in. They all realized that this hollow spirit state tertiary stage definitely hid his power. Clearly, he was body condensation state or cauldron filling state to be able to kill these few hollow spirit state cultivators so easily. Everyone looked at EMO as he was the strongest here. But now, there was another cultivator hiding his power. Clearly, the fight would happen between these two first. Those excited hollow spirit state cultivators all calmed down. The things here were good, but it was questionable if they were going to be able to take them. There were two cultivators above body condensation state here. EMO saw that Xiaoyi and Zhou Yushuang's master didn't move either. Clearly, they could tell this cultivator was hiding his power too. This hollow spirit state tertiary stage stopped hiding his power and soon showed he was cauldron filling state level 9. No matter what, he was going to get all these powerful treasures. Other than EMO, who had a calm look, Zhou Yushuang's master and Xiaoyi all showed surprise and seriousness. They didn't expect someone was hiding their power like him. That cauldron filling state level 9 walked up to EMO and saluted with his fists. "Friend, your cauldron filling state level 7, that's cauldron filling state tertiary stage. There are 7 orbs here. I'll only take 5 and you can have 2. How is that?" EMO sneered. A mere cauldron filling state level 9. He could kill him easily, and yet he asked shamelessly for 5 orbs. However, EMO knew now wasn't the time to divide up the orbs, so he said calmly, "If you want the orbs, then go for it. Don't ask me." Hearing this, he looked satisfied. Clearly, to him, EMO knew he was cauldron filling state level 9 and backed down. He nodded. Very well. He walked to the 5th orb. Clearly, he wanted that immortal grade level 1 cultivation method. EMO saw Zhou Yushuang's master slowly gather up cultivation essence as that cauldron filling state level 9 walked to the 5th orb. To be honest, this immortal grade level 1 cultivation method had no enticement to EMO at all. He wanted the 7th orb the most, with the 3 crystals. That cauldron filling state cultivator grabbed the yellow orb, and his cultivation essence clashed with the defense of the orb. The cauldron filling state level 9 grunted and moved a few steps back. Seeing this, Zhou Yushuang's master stopped his decision to attack. But EMO ignored the cauldron filling state cultivator and just looked at the orb in shock. Then, he was speechless. When that cauldron filling state grabbed the orb cracked. EMO's spirit sense could transform, and his spirit sense reached inside the crack instantly and saw that cultivation method was just an illusion. EMO looked from the first to the last orb and saw that only the 3 crystals were real. The rest seemed fake. So powerful. The cauldron filling state took a few steps back and looked at these orbs. Then he looked at EMO, clearly wanting to join forces with EMO to attack these orbs. EMO laughed. "Let me see." EMO walked to the 1st orb and grabbed it. No one knew, he just wanted to reach his spirit sense inside the orb. He didn't really want to grab what was inside. There was a thud. It was just a light sound, and he wasn't flicked away by the orb. Soon, everyone realized that EMO's cultivation essence was weaker than the first cultivator, so the sound was much quieter. His spirit sense reached inside and saw the 3 extreme grade cultivation artifacts. They were fake. 3 heaven grade level 7 cultivation methods, fake. EMO frowned and walked to the 2nd orb, grabbing it like before. He found they were all fake. Seeing EMO touch all the orbs, no one knew what he was doing. The cauldron filling state level 9 frowned and saluted with his fists. "Friend, this won't work. The orbs won't open. I think we should attack together. If we can open them, I'm willing to give you an extra orb. How about it?" EMO shook his head. Although they were just all hollow spirit state cultivators on the side, the cauldron filling state level 9's words were taboo. He thought they were nothing and wanted everything for himself. EMO looked at the cauldron filling state cultivator and said, "I'll try again. If it doesn't work, then we'll see." Then, as EMO grabbed onto the last orb, there was a thud. EMO's spirit sense reached inside, and instantly, EMO was shook to find that those crystals were all real. They were definitely not spirit crystals. His spirit sense felt an extreme sense of comfort just scanning them. EMO suppressed his joy and walked to the side, saluting his fist to the cauldron filling state level 9. "I tested and found these few balls are very sturdy. Only the last one I feel I have some hope of taking, so I'll just take the last orb. I feel I won't be able to open the other orbs. Really? The cauldron-filling state reached for the last orb too, but he was flicked away like before. He frowned and said coldly, "Didn't you say the last one is easier?" 1265, tearing the orb. 1265, tearing the orb. Emo said calmly, "I have an extremely powerful truth explosion orb. If I use my full power, I might be able to break one. The 3 spirit crystals are good. I'll have them." Truth explosion orb. The cauldron-filling state level 9 repeated in shock. This was a one-time use magic artifact that truth realization state cultivators could create. If Emo used Truth Explosion Orb against him, he might be seriously injured if he was caught off guard. He thought Emo would be no match for him, but if Emo had a Truth Explosion Orb, it would be completely different. This cauldron-filling state level 9's face changed, and after a while he sighed. "I didn't expect you to have such a powerful one-time use magic artifact. I have no objections to you using one to open an orb, but the rest of the orbs..." Emo waved his hand. "I won't have any of them. I promise I just want the 7th one. Plus, after I open it, I won't have the ability to open any more." "Okay then. I have no objections, go open it. But the Truth Explosion Orb might destroy the contents of the orb," the cauldron-filling state answered. Although Emo said he only had one Truth Explosion Orb, who knew how many he really had? He didn't believe Emo would use the only one he had here. If he was in Emo's position, he wouldn't use it to open the orb. He would use it to hurt the strongest person here first. Emo smiled. "I only want the 7th orb. If I accidentally break the contents inside, then I won't pursue any other orbs." The cauldron-filling state rejoiced. He was waiting for Emo to say that. Just when he thought Emo was going to open it, Emo turned around and looked at the hollow spirit state cultivators. "I only want the 7th orb. Is that fine with everyone?" How could the hollow spirit states object? When he looked at Xiao Yi, she smiled. "I would love for Brother Yi to have one of the orbs. How can I disagree?" Emo smiled. "Great." Then Emo asked Zhou Yushuang's master, and the man stared closely at Emo as though wanting to see why Emo asked him. However, Emo's tone was the same to everyone. Nothing special. The cauldron-filling state level 9 shook his head. He thought that Emo was a cauldron-filling state level 7. If he wanted an orb, who would dare to object? This was just so extra. But even so, he frowned and didn't object. After all, asking didn't take much time. He wanted Emo to help him open the other orbs after he took something from the 7th orb. He even planned to give Emo something, so Emo would help him. Seeing Emo ask him, Zhou Yushuang's master said calmly, "Even if you take all the orbs, I won't have a problem." Emo's tone suddenly became cold, and he stared coldly at Zhou Yushuang's master. "Just say whether you have a problem or not. If I find someone trying to harm me when I take something from the orb, I will eliminate that threat now." Emo didn't want people disturbing him when he broke open the orb. That's why he asked one by one. He was mainly asking the 2 cauldron-filling state cultivators. If Zhou Yushuang's master acted up, he would attack immediately. He believed that if he was to take on Zhou Yushuang's master, the other 2 cauldron-filling state wouldn't intervene. Plus, even if they did, he wasn't afraid. Hearing Emo's cold words, Zhou Yushuang's master's eyes dilated. He was sure Emo saw through his power. Otherwise, why would he waste time on a hollow spirit state cultivator? Emo's words meant that if he dared to say no now, he would attack immediately. Zhou Yushuang's master was planning to attack Emo when he was opening the 7th orb, but now that Emo asked him, he felt he was seen through. Seeing Emo's eyes grow cold, Zhou Yushuang's masters nodded. "I have no objections, there are 7 orbs here. But Qin Bei, you only want one." Emo knew what he meant and said coldly, "You're right, Qin Bei will only take one." He was clearly scorning Zhou Yushuang's master. Zhou Yushuang's master nodded. If it was just Emo here, he would have attacked already. He could tell Emo's sarcasm. Now, Emo just wanted the 7th orb. There were just 3 crystals there. It wasn't the most precious thing. More importantly, his greatest enemy was the cauldron-filling state level 9. If he fought with Emo, That cauldron-filling state level 9 would help Emo for sure. He was cauldron-filling state peak stage, but he wasn't confident to win over a cauldron-filling state level 9 and cauldron-filling state level 7. Plus, this cauldron-filling state level 7 said he had a truth explosion orb. Even he didn't dare to face it head-on. Seeing the main opponents agree, Emo took Su Jingwen to the 7th orb. Although they all agreed, he still had to be wary of the others attacking Su Jingwen as he took the orb. The cauldron-filling state level 9 saw Emo walk to the 7th orb and just stared at Emo. The truth explosion orb's power was huge. If he went over now, it might affect him. As for the rest of the hollow spirit state cultivators here, he already considered them dead. Before he got the orbs, he would kill anyone who dared to leave. Zhou Yushuang's master stared at the cauldron-filling state level 9. He was preparing to ambush him when he opened an orb. As long as he injured him, the rest of the orbs would be his. It didn't matter to him if Emo just took an orb with spirit crystals. Xiaoyi just stared at Emo and Su Jingwen. No one could tell what she was thinking. Emo walked to the 7th orb and didn't take out the truth explosion orb like everyone expected. He instead took out a few formation flags and set up a formation before releasing a kitchen knife magic artifact and hacking at the orb. With a thud, the orb was opened by Zisu, creating a very small opening. Other cultivators thought the opening would slowly close, but instead it didn't. It instead got bigger until it was enough for his hand to reach in. Emo's face was getting more and more pale. No one knew he was using his full power. He made the agreement with the 3 cauldron-filling state cultivators, as he was the weakest now. His spirit sense was used to the max. The opening wasn't opened by his cultivation essence, but spirit sense. He had tested cultivation essence before. It was useless against such barrier. The more powerful the cultivation essence, the more powerful the concussion. Only spirit sense could open it. If these 3 cauldron-filling state cultivators attacked him now, all he had done would be for nothing, and he would be heavily injured. He was already planning to kill Zhou Yushuang's master when he was hesitating. It wasn't hard for him to kill cauldron-filling state peak stage, but he didn't want to kill for no reason. Luckily, Zhou Yushuang's master agreed, fearing he would collaborate with the cauldron-filling state level 9. The crack grew wider. Zhou Yushuang's master and Xiao Yi were dazed too. They thought Emo would be opening it with Truth Explosion Orb, but Emo could tear it apart instead. The cauldron-filling state level 9's eyes flickered. He was hesitating whether he should ambush Emo. If it wasn't for the Truth Explosion Orb Emo talked about, he might really do it. Before he could make up his mind, Emo grabbed the 3 crystals. Their spirit chi that was comfortable to the extreme almost made him moan. He put the 3 crystals in his golden page world as quickly as he could. When Emo pulled his hand out, the orb instantly closed. Without hesitation, Emo ate a spirit recovery pill. The cauldron-filling state level 9 saw this and sneered. He looked at Emo and asked gloomily, "Why didn't I see you use the Truth Explosion Orb? Did I hear wrong?" He looked at Emo and asked gloomily, "Why didn't I see you use the Truth Explosion Orb? Did I hear wrong?" Emo recovered a part of his spirit sense and removed the formation casually. He looked coldly at this cauldron-filling state level 9 and said, "Why would I use it? You're so weird." Emo was planning to go now that he got what he wanted. If this cauldron-filling state level 9 dared to talk, he would teach him a lesson. The cauldron-filling state level 9 didn't expect this cauldron-filling state level 7 to become so rude after he got what he wanted. He was dazed and asked angrily, "Didn't you say you have a Truth Explosion Orb? Or did I hear and everyone hear wrong?" If Emo wasn't cauldron-filling state level 7, he would have attacked already. Emo said calmly, "Then you're deaf. I just said I had the orb. When did I say I was going to use it? Are you a pig brain? The orb can even kill disaster transformation state cultivators. Would I use it on a few spirit crystals? Would you do it? You." The cauldron-filling state level 9 spread out his power and a black magic artifact appeared in his hand. This was a top-grade cultivation artifact, Yin Yang Fan. He clearly didn't like Emo's attitude and was about to attack. "It seems you toughened up now that you got what you want. Are you going to fight over the other orbs?" The cauldron-filling state level 9 asked with dense killing intent. Emo sneered and didn't even bring out a magic artifact. He said coldly, I always live up to my words. I'll only take one orb. If you want to fight, then fight. I don't have much patience. The cauldron-filling state level 9 looked at Emo with uncertainty. Would a cauldron-filling state level 7 be so tough to him if he didn't have something like the Truth Explosion Orb? Zhou Yushuang's master hoped Emo and the cauldron-filling state level 9 would fight. Then he could ambush them. As long as he killed one, he would be undefeated. However, just when everyone thought they were going to fight, the cauldron-filling state level 9 said calmly, since you don't want the rest of the things, we have no conflict. I don't need to fight with you. Seeing this, Emo was a little surprised too. He was thinking how many strikes it would take to kill this cauldron-filling state level 9, but instead he retreated. Thinking about this, Emo knew he was probably scared of his Truth Explosion Orb. He wasn't a murderous person. If he was, he would have killed everyone here beforehand. But Emo didn't do that. He wanted to teach this cocky cauldron-filling state level 9 a lesson, but he backed down. Emo didn't want to have this pointless fight. Zhou Yushuang's master seemed a little disappointed. Brother Yi, are you going? Xiaoyi saw Emo seemed to want to leave here and seemed unwilling. Emo knew she was problematic, but no matter what was wrong with her, it had nothing to do with him. Plus, the only real orb was taken by him, so what was the point of staying here? Emo glanced at her and said calmly, yes, I'm someone with self-knowledge. I am very happy with just one orb. As for the rest, you guys can have it. I'll be going off first. Xiaoyi heard this and suddenly called, Brother Yi, can you go later? If you go, I'll be scared being by myself here. Hearing this, Emo frowned. He really didn't like this woman. Emo said coldly, if you're scared, then let's go together. Why are you staying here? Xiaoyi looked at the 6 orbs and said, if I can get one of the 6 orbs, I would be very satisfied. Sigh. I'd be willing to give my life for something like that. There was a strong sense of seduction in her words. Those hollow spirit state cultivators couldn't even keep their eyes off her and gulped their saliva. Emo sneered. Su Jingwen was right next to him, and she dared to do this. But no matter what trick she used, it wouldn't affect him. He had cultivated next to the bitter bamboo, and his Dao heart was very firm. Seeing this seductive Xiaoyi, Su Jingwen was unhappy and leaned closer to Emo and said, Emo, let's go. Just when Emo wanted to talk, he heard a cold voice say, no one can leave now. I've sealed this place. No one can come in either. Emo was shaken. After he heard the voice, he looked at this man. Clearly, he was much stronger than him. 2 cultivators came in. One was hollow spirit state primary stage with a square face and thin eyes. Emo felt this cultivator was very familiar. The other cultivator was a middle-aged man. His power made Emo's eyes spasm. This middle-aged man was disaster transformation state level 9. Soon, Emo remembered why this square-faced man seemed familiar to him. When Tang Mingrao told him about Yi, she said he had a square face and thin eyes. With this disaster transformation state level 9 next to him, it wasn't hard to guess who he was. This middle-aged man was Wang Yu Sek Shandi, and the young cultivator was Yi. Realizing this, disgust rose up Emo's heart. This guy killed Li Qishan, and he had said he would get revenge for Li Qishan. Now that was here, he couldn't be blamed for what was to come. Shandi had some capability. Yi's Dantian was destroyed by Lin Zhongtian, but he could still find spirit herbs to repair it. Wang Yu sect was quite rich. He didn't know how the two were related, but Shandi took him so seriously and brought him around. Shandi scanned around, and his pressure swept across the hall. Those few cauldron-filling state cultivators were shaking. Sect leader Shan Xian Bei. The cultivators greeted Shandi with respect and carefulness. When Yi came inside, his eyes never left Su Jingwen and Xiaoyi. He looked at Su Jingwen again and again, making Emo very annoyed. If it weren't for Shandi, he would have already attacked. But Emo knew that although Yi must be killed, he needed to ensure Su Jingwen was safe. Shandi nodded, and then looked at the cauldron-filling state level 9 for a while until he was sweating before looking at Emo and the woman next to him were the only two who didn't salute to him. This made him annoyed. He looked at Emo for a while but didn't say anything. He then looked at the dead hollow spirit state cultivators and asked coldly, "Who killed them? Did someone kill innocent people because he thought he was strong? There aren't many high-level cultivators in North Far State already. If they are killed like this, who can be depended on in the next beast tide? Just me?" Then, he looked at Emo, clearly thinking he had done it as Emo didn't greet him when he came in. He thought Emo was a cocky guy. Emo saw this and sneered. How could he not know Shandi wanted trouble with him? However, he wasn't scared at all. Just when Shandi wanted to keep asking, he saw what was inside the 7 crystal balls, and there was extreme disbelief and joy in his eyes. Extreme Grade Cultivation Artifact and Heaven Grade Cultivation Method. The Truth Carrot Pill that made him unable to breathe. Heaven Flame. Immortal Artifact. Extreme Grade Cultivation Artifact and Heaven Grade Cultivation Method. The Truth Carrot Pill that made him unable to breathe. Heaven Flame. Immortal Artifact. What ruin was this? He started panting heavily. He was sure that all the things in North Far State combined weren't even worth 10% of what was here. Yet he somehow came across something like this. The things here were more and more precious than the next. When he saw the 7th orb, he was dazed. According to this, the 7th orb should be the most precious. Why was it empty? When he subconsciously looked around wanting to ask someone, he saw everyone look at him, immediately knew his outlook wasn't too good. He coughed and acted calm. Why is the 7th orb empty? Shandi calmed down as he knew that since he had come, everything here belonged to him. No one could take it. No one would dare to take things in front of him in the North Far State. The cauldron-filling state level 9 immediately got up and pointed at Emo Shanxian Bei. He took the 7th orb. There were 3 crystals inside. The spirit chi is denser than extreme-grade spirit stones. They might even be immortal crystals. The cauldron-filling state cultivator didn't like Emo already and didn't want him to have it easy. He wanted to exaggerate things and make Shandi attack, but when he spoke of immortal crystals, he paused for a moment. No matter how dumb he was, he realized the last orb had immortal crystals. The orbs before had low-grade immortal artifacts, so how could the last orb be worse than the one before? Yet, like all other cultivators, he didn't think of this earlier. After all, immortal crystals couldn't appear in the cultivation realm. 3 immortal crystals might not even be able to buy a corner of a low-grade immortal artifact, but in the cultivation realm it was different. Immortal crystals were definitely more precious than immortal artifacts. A powerful forgery grandmaster would be able to forge a low-grade immortal artifact with the right materials. But immortal crystals were different, since they would never appear in the spirit chi arid cultivation realm. Immortal crystals were the best pills for cultivators. They had no pill poison, just pure and clean immortal chi. Realizing Emo might have taken immortal crystals, the cultivator's eyes showed extreme regret. Why didn't he think of it? If he did, he would get one if he could. It was just a cauldron-filling state level 7 cultivator. He wouldn't mind fighting over an immortal crystal for him. Plus, it wasn't even certain if he really had the truth explosion orb. Not only this, but Zhou Yushuang's master and Xiao Yi also realized that the 3 crystals Emo took were immortal crystals. Even if they were low-grade immortal crystals, it was something the cultivation realm didn't have. Their eyes were full of regret. Emo wasn't too sure if these crystals were the legendary immortal crystals, but now that this cauldron-filling state level 9 said this, he was very sure they were low-grade immortal crystals. Hearing this, Shandi looked at Emo again and had eyes that showed he must have them. The 3 crystals you took were immortal crystals? Seeing Emo not have the intention to talk, Shandi asked. Emo said calmly, "I don't know. I didn't look at them." Oh. Shandi was unhappy. A Wanbei like Emo should have the initiative to take them out and show him, but Emo didn't do anything. Shandi waited a long while, but Emo still had no intentions of showing him. Shandi frowned. It was so obvious what he meant, but this cauldron-filling state still didn't show him. He grunted and said, "Show me those 3 crystals. I'll check if they're really immortal crystals." Emo sneered but said calmly, "No need. No matter if they are immortal crystals, I won't mind." Insolence. Shandi yelled. "There are so many people here, and you're the only one who took something. You also killed low-level cultivators. Do you think you can do whatever you want just because you have some extra power? How could Yemo not know Shandi was using an excuse to attack him? But to be honest, he really wasn't scared of Shandi after his recent enlightenment. He could even fight truth realization state beast cultivators. So how could he be scared of a mere disaster transformation state level 9 Shandi? As soon as Shandi said this, Yemo laughed. This is really funny. It's mine. Why should I show you? Plus, this many cultivators all agreed to me taking the 7th orb. Even they don't mind, but you who came later instead interrogate me. Do you think you can do whatever you want just because your power is high? Sending back exactly what Shandi said to him, Shandi was at a loss for words. He stared coldly at Yemo and then scanned the cultivators. He wanted to ask if they really all agreed. But then he stopped. He couldn't ask that. He was about to take the remaining 6 orbs. Was he going to ask the rest of the cultivators too? But at this moment, a crisp voice sounded. Shanqian Bei? He didn't ask me when he took it. Maybe because my power is too low. Yemo wasn't afraid of Shandi, but this made him very annoyed. He looked at Zhou Yushuang, not expecting her to act against him. He didn't ask her firstly because she was the weakest, and secondly because he already asked her master. Such a sneaky one, Bei. I want to see how you can act so tough. Shandi was about to attack. But before he could, another voice sounded. Martial brother Shan. Why is your temper so big? You sealed the outside off too? It took me so much effort to get in. Hearing this voice, Shandi immediately stopped and said politely, Martial sister Mengrao, I heard you were fine and wanted to visit you. I didn't expect something to happen to all Herb Mountain Range, so I came to check it out. Yemo's spirit sense already scanned Tang Mengrao, while all Shandi was thinking about were the immortal crystals. Tang Mengrao also had a young girl next to her. It was probably her disciple. Did these powerful people all like to roam around with their disciples? Tang Mengrao saw Yemo and looked surprised and joyful. Sect leader Yi, you're here too? Although she was disaster transformation state tertiary stage, she didn't dare to act big in front of Yemo at all. She knew Yemo's power. This was a guy who could easily kill disaster transformation state primary stage cultivators and fight with truth realization state cultivators. Even she and Ji Ling might not be able to take a few blows in front of that truth realization state level 2, but Yemo could and only spat a little blood. Thus, even Tang Mengrao wasn't certain she could beat Yemo. When she saw Yemo, she considered him a cultivator of her level. Just when she wanted to introduce her disciple to Yemo, her spirit sense also scanned the 6 orbs and she was dazed. Extreme grade cultivation artifact, truth carrot pill, immortal grade cultivation method, immortal artifact. Tang Mengrao rubbed her eyes. Am I seeing this right? As soon as she came, Shandi knew he had to split half with Tang Mengrao, but he didn't mind that much. There were too many good things here. He didn't need all of them. Shandi nodded. Yes, martial sister Mengrao, I was in disbelief when I came here too. What ruin is this? All these things are here, but the immortal crystals of the 7th orb have been taken away. Immortal crystals? Tang Mengrao interrupted in shock. Shandi nodded. Yes, it's taken by that cauldron-filling state level 7 cultivator. He not only took it, but also killed a few hollow spirit state cultivators who disrespected him. He pointed at the dead hollow spirit state cultivators and said, I'm ashamed there are such cultivators in North Far State. I was planning to teach him a lesson. Tang Mengrao heard this and looked at Yemo in shock. She thought Yemo wasn't someone who would kill innocent people. She hadn't been with Yemo for long, but she knew he wasn't a murderous person. Tang Mengrao heard this and looked at Yemo in shock. She thought Yemo wasn't someone who would kill innocent people. She hadn't been with Yemo for long, but she knew he wasn't a murderous person. The young girl next to Tang Mengrao heard this and immediately looked disgusted. She then came up to Shandi and bowed. Yuchan greets Shan Qian Bei. Shandi nodded, but Tang Mengrao said, Yuchan, this is Yemo, the sect leader you wanted to thank. He saved your master. You should call him martial uncle. Greet him. He's Yemo? That young girl looked at Yemo in shock, but didn't really call Yemo martial uncle. Tang Mengrao's face didn't look so good seeing her disciple was rude. Just when she wanted to speak, Shandi said in surprise, You're Yimo? The one who caused my disciple Yi's Dantian to get destroyed? Yimo smirked in contempt. This Shan Di really knew how to connect the dots. His disciple wanted to annihilate Mou in Pei High City, but he blamed him for harming his disciple. This bastard really knew how to bullshit. Shan Di took out a fire rune mirror and said coldly, even if you're Yimo, on Meng Rao's account, I'll let you go for what you did to Yi, but I won't let you go for killing innocents. Release your magic artifact. Yimo sneered. Which one of your dog eyes saw me kill someone? If you want to fight, then fight. Stop pretending and finding an excuse. Then, Yimo took out Zisu. Seeing this, Tang Mingrao quickly stopped Shan Di. Martial brother Shan, let's clear things up first. Perhaps those few hollow spirit state offended Yimo first. Tang Mingrao knew that Shan Di was disaster transformation state level 9, but he really might not be able to beat Yimo. Yimo killed a disaster transformation state middle stage cultivator when he wasn't cauldron filling state tertiary stage before, and now he was cauldron filling state tertiary stage. Even truth realization states domains were useless against him. Seeing this, Shan Di frowned. Martial sister Mingrao, you want to help this murderous cultivator? Tang Mingrao saw Yimo's face full of killing intent and sighed. Even if she did stop Shan Di, Yimo would still fight him as Yi had come today. However, Zhou Yushuang suddenly said, Yimo didn't kill those hollow spirit state cultivators. It was this person. Then Zhou Yushuang pointed at the pale-looking cauldron-filling state level 9. Instantly, everyone looked at him. Shan Di only needed to look around at the eyes of the cultivators to know she was right. Shan Di looked back annoyedly at this cauldron-filling state level 9. He didn't really want to help those dead cultivators get justice. He just wanted to find an excuse to kill Yimo and take his storage ring. Seeing this, the cauldron-filling state level 9 explained with a pale face, Shan Qian Bei. Those few hollow spirit state cultivators ambushed me. That's why I killed them. So that's it. Shan Di frowned and said, don't kill people so easily if it's not a big deal. North Far State is weakened already. The cauldron-filling state level 9 quickly nodded his head. Yes, Wanbei knows. Wanbei will remember Qian Bei's teachings. Yimo sneered. Stop acting cool. You just want my 3 immortal crystals, but I won't give them to you. What are you going to do? The girl next to Tang Mingrao almost laughed out. Shan Di's face went cold. You think I won't kill you just because sect leader Tang is here? Wanbei, I can kill you like a chicken. Yimo laughed and flicked Zisu until it rang before saying coldly, Shan Di, you don't need to be in a rush to kill me. I'll let you do that in a while. When I left Pei High City, I made 3 spirit recovery pills for you. I supplied the herbs. I don't know who it saved. But then, Yimo raised his voice, but Shan bastard, what was our deal? Your sect sent a hollow spirit state to protect Mou, but what you do, you old bastard? You let the little bastard and a little witch attack Mou. Not only did you not help Mou, instead you attacked it. If it wasn't for Ling Zhongtian Qianbei, Mou would be gone now. Is your face a butthole? Your words are like shit. Finally, the girl next to Tang Mingrao couldn't hold her laughter. This was like slapping sect leader Shan in the face a few times. Shan Di's face burst red, and he took out his magic artifact again. This was nothing to Shan Di, but a mere Wanbei dared to say this was a deal with Wang Yu sect. Wanbei, I will kill you. Shan Di took out the fire rune mirror. Yimo sneered. Don't be in a rush. I need to kill someone here first. It's that trash called Yi behind you. He killed my friendly Qishan and dared to attack Mou. I was planning to go over to Wang Yu's sect to kill that bastard, but since that bastard came today, I won't need to go to Wang Yu's sect in case I ruin the pretty flowers and scare the beautiful wives there. Shan Di was so angry he almost spat blood. His cultivation essence burst into the fire rune mirror. He was going to let Yimo realize in his death what it meant when a cauldron-filling state level 8 fought with a disaster transformation state level 9. Tang Mingrao sighed but didn't stop Yimo. She knew that there was no way she could stop this battle. Master, Yuchan had a bad impression of Yimo, but after knowing he didn't kill those hollow spirit state cultivators, she was worried for him instead. Tang Mingrao pulled her to the side and said, Don't worry. Stand behind Master and don't get caught in the crossfire. Yuchan looked at her master in confusion. Shandi might get her caught in the crossfire if he wanted to kill that man. Wasn't it just a matter of one palm? The rest of the cultivators looked at Emo with pity. Emo probably couldn't even last 10 seconds with Shandi. The cauldron-filling state level 9 saw this and his eyes flashed with excitement. He had long wanted to attack Emo. As soon as Shandi's fire rune mirror was released, the temperature in the hall rose up drastically. Everyone moved to the side. Emo casually sent Su Jingwen to one corner and hacked out with Zisu. Su Jingwen wasn't worried at all. The mirror grew bigger and bigger until it loomed over Emo like the midday sun. Shandi really didn't take this level of a cultivator seriously. He used his mirror because he wanted to burn Emo to death straight away. He could get revenge and assert dominance this way. But he wasn't facing an ordinary cauldron-filling state level 7. He was facing Emo, a cauldron-filling state cultivator who dared to fight with truth realization state cultivators. If Shandi saw Emo's fight with the truth realization state, he would never underestimate Emo nor even fight with him. Emo instantly found the weakness of Fire Rune Mirror, and Emo felt contemptuous at heart. Shandi had so much fame, but his domain wasn't even in initial completion. The reason Emo had such a feeling was firstly because Shandi had just recovered after coming back from the war, and secondly since his strongest magic artifact was broken by Lin Zhongtian and it still hadn't been repaired yet. His domain was indeed in initial completion, and that was quite significant for disaster transformation state cultivators. But his domain needed that magic artifact to show greater power. The fire rune mirror shone brighter until eventually, all other cultivators except Emo could only see a scorching ray of white. Even spirit sense couldn't scan inside as it would be turned into nothing. The fire rune mirror shone brighter until eventually, all other cultivators except Emo could only see a scorching ray of white. Even spirit sense couldn't scan inside as it would be turned into nothing. Moments later, the scorching ray formed ring-like waves that spread out from the mirror towards Emo. Almost all the cultivators were waiting for Emo to get melted completely. But soon, people were surprised. Emo's Zisu hacked out after the mirror came out, and the purple ray outshone the terrifying ray of Shandi's mirror. When the purple ray clashed with the white rings were forced away and dispersed. The scorching ray was dissipated, and a floating huge fire rune mirror was revealed. Shandi was dazed seeing that Emo broke away his white ray with one slash. Before he could do anything, Emo hacked with Zisu again, Illusion Cloud Division Strike. "How dare you?" he roared. He didn't expect Emo to be completely fine under the attack, and instead used the opportunity to counterattack. He used Fire Rune Mirror again, but this time, the white ray was more than twice as strong as before. Everyone could tell Shandi wasn't using his full power before. But even so, Emo, a mere cauldron-filling state level 7, could survive unscathed. This was quite substantial. Emo sneered. He knew he would have to retreat in the wake of this white ray if he was cauldron-filling state middle stage. But now Emo didn't need to do that at all. Before Illusion Cloud Division Strike finished, he used Illusion Cloud Exert Will Strike as well as Illusion Cloud Formation Kill Strike. The white ray grew more luminous and the temperature rose higher too, but Emo's purple sword rays also multiplied rapidly. The endless purple sword rays formed a trap formation, blocking the white rays and shrinking. Shandi's eye spasmed. He finally realized that Emo really had the power to talk back to him. Since when was there such an absurd cauldron-filling state cultivator? He had never even heard of this before. He was attacking with full power, but he didn't even have the slightest upper hand. Seeing the endless purple sword rays trap the fire rune mirror, the cultivators around were also astonished. Even the cauldron-filling state level 9 and Zhou Yushuang's master were shook. They didn't expect Emo was this powerful. If they had to deal with Shandi's attack, they would have long been dead. Only Shandi knew what was going on. It wasn't that Emo's cultivation essence or spirit sense was stronger than his, but that Emo's domain was more complete than his. The main thing was, Shandi was shocked to find that Emo knew the exact weaknesses of his domain and mirror. Each time Emo attacked, it was based on the weakness. This couldn't continue. If it did, although he wouldn't lose, he would lose face if he had the lower hand. Thinking about this, Shandi was about to use his 7-star sword, but he suddenly found that his spirit sense paused. He cursed, and then the white ray dispersed. He just realized that Yimo had a spirit sense cultivation method too. He just cast away Yimo's spirit sense attack when he saw the purple sword rays swarm up again. A basic trap formation was formed and more purple sword rays sprayed out of the kitchen knife, repairing the trap formation. Not good. Yimo wanted to trap him. Shandi realized this and howled. 7 dark blue swords flew out and formed a 7-star killing force. Yimo sneered. He knew Shandi had other means. It wasn't that simple for him to kill a disaster transformation state tertiary stage. So, Yimo used his lightning sword at the same time. Rumble, 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 more than 10 lightning swords rained down. They were all infant arm-sized and some were even thicker. Seeing this, some of the cultivators who had seen Yimo's lightning sword before realized that Yimo didn't even use a tenth of his power when he killed the black and white half-pill king. The cauldron-filling state level 9 shivered. He realized now how dumb he was. With Yimo's means, it was all too easy for Yimo to kill him, and yet he stupidly thought he had him. The only thing he didn't understand was, why did Yimo only want 1 orb when there were 7 here? Zhou Yushuang's master was also very shocked. He looked dazedly at Yimo's endless means and realized that if he didn't agree to Yimo taking the 7th orb, he might be dead now. Just what sort of maniac was he? He carefully wiped the sweat from his forehead and made up his mind. Even if he met cultivators weaker than him, he wouldn't treat them with the same mentality as before. If he met an absurd cauldron-filling state cultivator like Yimo again, it would be too scary. Zhou Yushuang was completely dazed now. She didn't dare to believe her eyes. She had long heard of Shandi's power, and yet a young cultivator like Yimo could fight with him and not be losing out at all. This was way beyond her comprehension. Xiaoyi also looked at Yimo in shock, not expecting this at all. Shandi was sweating cold. He didn't expect Yimo was a lightning cultivator too. His lightning magic was also so absurd. He had to defend against those lightning swords with all his power. The 7-star swords he was going to kill Yimo with took a defensive stance instead, and he took out another shield too. Yimo's lightning sword was pretty much the same as divine damnation. It was powerful and could bind cultivation essence. Shandi knew that if he was just a little careless, he might be killed here. Since when was there such an absurd cultivator? He had the complete upper hand fighting a disaster transformation state level 9 as a cauldron-filling state level 7. Shandi cursed. If he knew Yimo was this absurd, he would never have looked for trouble with Yimo. Yimo knew that although Shandi was having trouble defending, it was hard to kill him. He couldn't rain down this level of lightning sword non-stop. If his cultivation essence and spirit sense ran low, it would be time for Shandi's retaliation. But Yimo wasn't afraid. He still didn't use his octagonal cauldron or shadowless, not even purple eye soul sever. Yimo knew he wouldn't be able to trap Shandi for long, and now he took back Zisu. Just when everyone didn't know why Yimo took back his main attack magic artifact, Yimo hacked out with Zisu again. A long purple ray sprouted from Zisu and sliced through the air. The beauty made everyone unable to breathe. Illusion Cloud Hua Mountain Strike. The cultivators only noticed its beauty, but when the suffocating pressure came, they shivered. This wasn't a beautiful morning ray. This was a bloodthirsty sword ray. He looked up at the purple ray with mesmerization. He felt this ray was so pretty. Tang Mingrao shook her head. It was already set that Yimo was going to kill Yi. No one can stop him. Shandi just had things a little easier when saw the vibrant purple ray hack towards Yi. He was furious to the extreme, but he didn't have the time to say anything. If he hesitated at all, Yi would die. Shandi just had things a little easier when saw the vibrant purple ray hack towards Yi. He was furious to the extreme, but he didn't have the time to say anything. If he hesitated at all, Yi would die. Shandi immediately burned his essence blood and took out a low-grade cultivation artifact shield, instantly blocking Yi. Yi just woke up now. The purple ray was going to kill him. He sweated cold and also took out a low-grade cultivation artifact. The purple ray's momentum reached the max. That pitiful feeling of no regret could be felt by all. He couldn't help taking a few more steps back and was shocked at Yemo's power. It was a strike that was relentless until it did what it wanted. However, this strike also had a flaw, and that was it was hard to take it back. If the strike didn't hurt the enemy, it might hurt oneself. Yemo knew this, yet he was still adamant on killing Yi. Crack 2 crack sounded. The low-grade cultivation artifact Shandi used cracked like a biscuit. Cultivation essence splashed everywhere, and the air itself was exploding. At the same time, the purple ray dimmed down. However, Ithamo grunted and burned a mouthful of essence blood. His cultivation essence and spirit sense rose drastically and were inserted into Zisu. That dimmed purple ray lit up once again. Crack another crack sounded. This shield didn't stop the purple ray for even half a second and was hacked open. The purple ray now was more vibrant than before. So bright that people couldn't even open their eyes, but the people around didn't want to close their eyes. That vibrance was too beautiful. Splurge a rose seemed to have blossomed amidst the purple ray, making this scene beautiful to the extreme. But soon, the rose withered. Moments later, the purple ray completely disappeared. It came and left fast. Yi laid on the ground lifelessly. A bloody mark stretched across his forehead. The hall was in complete silence. There was no sound, no movement. The place was dead silent. Everyone realized what the red blossom in the purple ray was. Shandi was stunned. The lightning sword and purple sword ray formation attacking him was gone. Shandi looked at Yemo in disbelief. You killed E'er. You dare to kill E'er. He spat blood out and suddenly roared, I'm going to kill you. Yemo glared coldly at Shandi and sneered, Quit bluffing. You said you were going to kill me before, and I'm still standing here fine. Stop barking. If you want to fight, then fight. Yemo waved his hand, and the octagonal cauldron floated above his head. The cultivators here just realized that Yemo didn't even use his defense magic artifact before. Yet it was this cauldron-filling state who killed a disaster transformation state level 9 cultivator's disciple while fighting him. No one would believe this if they didn't see with their own eyes. It was too absurd. Shandi wiped the blood from his mouth. He calmed down instead. Bleak killing intent flashed across his eyes. He stared at Yemo very well. You have the power to act up with me. You didn't even release your defense magic artifact up until now. I underestimated you. If I don't kill you for revenge, I swear I'm not a human. Let me see what sort of a prodigy North Far State has birthed. With this, the mirror above his head buzzed and the 7 short swords emitted shocking killing intent. Master! Tangmengrao's disciple watched Yemo with extreme shock. She didn't expect a young cultivator like Yemo to be able to suppress Shandi. Martial brother Shan, I don't think this is the place to fight. Martial nephew Yi killed Yemo's friendly Chishan in Peihai City. Tangmengrao persuaded. Ha ha ha. Shandi laughed. He pointed at Yemo, a mere cauldron-filling state insect killed my disciple. If I don't get revenge for E'er, I don't need to come out anymore. What thing is Li Chishan? How can he compare with my disciple? Yemo sneered. I just killed a trash. Why do you need to act like your dad died? Oh, is that your illegitimate child? Shandi didn't say anything, and his 7 swords spun rapidly. Then, the sword circle gradually expanded. Sword domain? Tangmengrao saw this and asked in shock. She didn't expect Shandi to have this after not seeing him for a few years. Sword domain was much harder to form than cultivation essence domain. One sword Dao needs to reach a certain level for this. Usually, it was used with 1 sword, but Shandi used 7. It could only mean his progress was too huge. Yemo saw this and didn't mind at all. He didn't even use Zisu and just took out a clean white cloth instead. No one knew why Yemo did this. His opponent even used sword domain, but he didn't seem worried at all. Tangmengrao admired Yemo's courage. Shandi didn't know why Yemo did this either, but Yemo raised the cloth and said, If you want to fight, I'll fight with you, but you need to wait. Then, Yemo took the cloth and wiped his kitchen knife. Then, he burned the white cloth before raising Zisu and looking at it. I killed a trash just then. It dirted my sword. It took me quite a while to clean it. Okay, now we can fight. Everyone was at a loss for words. They just realized Yemo still wanted to insult Shandi first. Everyone saw the knife didn't even touch Yi at all. It was the sword ray that killed Yi. Shang-Chi's face was green. He knew that in a mocking competition, he would never beat Emo, so he just didn't talk. His cultivation essence burst into the mirror and 7-star swords. The rest of the cultivators all retreated, seeing the two about to fight again. At this moment, a wave of rumbling sounded. The earth below them started to vibrate as though this place was about to collapse. Earth shatter? All the cultivators thought of these two words. If the earth shattered, then it meant they might get devoured by the earth. Even cauldron-filling state cultivators might lose their life if they were trapped deep down the earth. Ordinary deep earth shatter didn't just bury a cultivator down below, but it also had space fissures and space typhoons. There was nothing you could do but await death if you were swooped into a space fissure. Plus, if you were buried a few thousand kilometers below the earth, it was very hard to get back out. You might die there. So when this sounded, even Shandi, who was desperate to kill Emo, put away his magic artifact. He needed to get the things inside the 6 orbs before he ran out of here. 2 hollow spirit state cultivators knew it was hopeless to stay here, so they charged towards the door. As soon as they did, space wind blades that were tens of times stronger than before tore them apart. Even Tang Mingrao and Shandi had a serious face. The 3rd hollow spirit stayed at the door, immediately wanted to retreat, but the foot he reached out with disappeared for no reason. Space fissure. One could possibly dodge space wind blades, but if it was space fissure, then it was certain death unless you were strong enough to rip apart space. However, such masters did not belong in the cultivation realm. In the entire Luoyu continent, there was just one Chujuyu. The earth was still shaking, but no one dared to go out now. Emo pulled Su Jingwen next to him and watched the surroundings. He had been to Truthfall Palace Forbidden Grounds, so he knew how to dodge the space fissures. The earth was still shaking, but no one dared to go out now. Emo pulled Su Jingwen next to him and watched the surroundings. He had been to Truthfall Palace Forbidden Grounds, so he knew how to dodge the space fissures. He put away the octagonal cauldron as it was of no use against space fissures. If Shandi didn't want to die, then he wouldn't fight him now. Shandi indeed didn't want to fight Emo now. Yi was dead. There was no point in fighting now. Emo had a base and family. He wasn't scared of Emo running away. Shandi saw the 6 golden orbs and said to Tang Mingrao, "Martial sister Mingrao, there are still 6 orbs here. Let's take 3 each." Tang Mingrao smiled bitterly and looked at Emo. "Sect leader Yi, what is your opinion?" Shandi felt extremely uncomfortable hearing this, but he didn't say anything. He knew Emo had the ability to take some too. If he didn't agree, then it would cause a battle. Shandi wasn't confident in beating Emo at all. A mere cauldron-filling state cultivator could reach domain initial completion and completely control the rhythm of the battle with him. This cultivator was too scary. Even though he wasn't scared of Emo now, he knew that if Emo reached disaster transformation state, he would be no match for Emo, even if Emo was just disaster transformation state level 1. Even Tang Mingrao thought Emo would ask for 2 of the orbs, but Emo said calmly, "I said I only want 1 orb. Since I have it, I don't want anything else." "You don't want it?" Tang Mingrao looked at Emo in shock. She still didn't really believe it. Shandi sneered. "Martial sister Mingrao, I'm going for it first." Then, Shandi grabbed towards the 3rd ball. Clearly, he wanted the truth carrot pill. With a thud, Shandi's hand clashed with the golden orb. The orb shattered a little, but it soon closed back up. However, unlike the cauldron-filling state level 9, Shandi wasn't pushed back. The next moment, he released 7-star swords and pierced at the golden orb. With another deep thud, a fist-sized opening appeared, and before it could repair, Shandi grabbed at the truth carrot pill. But then, his face changed immediately. The bottle of truth carrot pill he got dispersed into cultivation essence. Soon, nothing was left. Seeing this, everyone realized what was going on. The things in the 6th orb were fake. Shandi dazed, and there was great disappointment in his eyes. He then opened the rest of the few golden orbs, but they were all fake. Nothing was real. Emo looked at this and laughed. It would be strange if there were good things in there. He wasn't that generous, giving all these good things away for free. Now, all the cultivators looked at Emo. They all realized why Emo said he didn't want anything else. He already knew that these things were all fake. The only real thing was probably what was in the seventh orb. People realized why Emo touched all of the orbs. It was to confirm which one was real. Zhou Yushuang's master and the cauldron-filling state level 9 had bitter faces. They finally realized why such a powerful cultivator didn't fight over the rest of the orbs with them. He just casually touched them and knew if it was real or fake. But they wasted so much effort trying to break them but still didn't know anything. Shan Di looked at Emo with a green face and asked coldly, "The only thing in the real orb was taken by you?" Emo said calmly, "Yes. Do I have to wait for you to come each time I want to take something? Do I need your permission? When I was crossing the Heartless Sea, I also saw an immortal mine. Should I show you everything I got there, or should I just give it to you?" Shandi's face was very bad. He just realized Emo was someone who could cross the Heartless Sea. The cultivators here all knew of the Heartless Sea, and when they heard Emo cross the Heartless Sea, they took a breath in. Crossing the Heartless Sea, that was something Truth Realization State did. Truth Realization State Tertiary Stage. Yet, this young guy dared to do that. Just what sort of guy was he? This hall could be devoured by the ground anytime, so Shan Di ignored Emo and looked at Tang Mingrao. "Martial Sister Mingrao, there are 3 immortal crystals. You're also facing a barrier at Truth Realization State, I think?" Tang Mingrao walked to a hollow spirit state and asked some questions. She realized what was going on. Emo took the 7th orb, and there were 3 immortal crystals inside. Anyone would wanted the immortal crystals, much less Tang Mingrao, who was stuck in disaster transformation state. But that depended on who took the immortal crystals. Tang Mingrao felt a deep threat from Emo, plus Emo had saved her life. She didn't want to, and wasn't able to take the immortal crystals from Emo. So before Shan Di finished, she smiled. "Sect leader, ye saved my life. My disciple Chinai did wrong things to his Emo too. So I don't mind sect leader ye taking the immortal crystals." Shan Di felt very uncomfortable. He didn't expect that with their many years of relationship and fighting together, she helped Emo, this stupid youth. Although Shan Di really wanted to fight with Emo, he knew he wouldn't be able to win and he didn't want to lose his life here. In that case, Shan Di wanted to go. He knew there were space fissures, but he should be able to make it out. At this moment, Tang Mingrao suddenly looked at Xiao Yi and asked, "What's your name?" Hearing this, Xiao Yi seemed surprised and said, "Tang Qian Bei. I'm Xiao Yi. I came in with Brother Yi." Then, Xiao Yi quickly came up to Emo. Her eyes seemed to be saying, "If you're going out, please bring me also." But her eyes also seemed afraid of Emo's rejection. Tang Mingrao looked at Emo in confusion. She felt this Xiao Yi was familiar, but didn't know where she had seen her before. At this moment, Yuchan said, "This sister Xiao Yi really seems like one person. Right, master, I remember." But at this moment, Xiao Yi walked to Emo as though wanting to say something. Before she even said anything, Emo released his octagonal cauldron. She was too close to him now. He knew she was cauldron-filling state level 8, and he had been wary of her. As soon as she neared, Emo released his octagonal cauldron, not because he was scared of her, but because he cared about Su Jingwen. Rumble, a huge explosion sounded in the hall. At the same time, everyone released their defense magic artifacts. However, the hollow spirit state cultivators couldn't react in time. The huge explosion almost tipped the hall over. Those hollow spirit state cultivators were blasted away by the chi wave. After a good while, this explosion calmed down. Other than Emo, Shan Di, and Tang Mingrao, there were the 2 cauldron-filling states still alive. Zhou Yushuang also survived under her master's protection. After a good while, this explosion calmed down. Other than Emo, Shan Di, and Tang Mingrao, there were the 2 cauldron-filling states still alive. Zhou Yushuang also survived under her master's protection. Truth explosion bead. The cauldron-filling state level 9 said in shock. Although he released his magic artifact in time, he was closer than Emo, so he was lightly injured. Someone who could instantly activate Truth explosion bead couldn't be just hollow spirit state. This meant that female cultivator hid her power. Shandi's face was calm and felt unsatisfied. That female cultivator used Truth Explosion Bead to ambush Emo at this range, but still didn't get him. Emo wasn't simple. Xiaoyi didn't expect Emo to be wary of her, and to release his octagonal cauldron before she activated the Truth Explosion Bead. Seeing this, Xiaoyi knew she wouldn't be able to get Emo. But the orb had already activated, and she couldn't take it back. Master, I feel like that Xiaoyi is really like Martial Sister Qiandai. No, I feel she is Martial Sister Qiandai, Yuchan suddenly said. She then asked worriedly, Master, why is she using the Truth Explosion Orb against Emo? Huh, I know. Yuchan remembered that Emo killed Ao Qinya's brother Ao Qiailong. Tang Mingrao's face was also very bad now. The moment Xiaoyi attacked, she could tell Xiaoyi was Ao Qiandai. She nodded. Qiandai used a space transmission rune to get away. Emo heard their conversation and just realized that it was Ao Qiandai ambushing him. His face went cold. Sect Leader Tang is powerful indeed. You trained a cauldron-filling state level 8 disciple. I admire your capabilities. You're saying Qiandai is cauldron-filling state level 8? She didn't see Ao Qinya's real power in that moment. Emo sneered. Qiandai? You think if your disciple Ao Qiandai is really only around 30, she can reach cauldron-filling state level 8? You think there are such prodigies in the world? You're saying. Tang Mingrao was shook. She knew Emo meant that Ao Qiandai was possessed. Emo sneered but didn't say anything. However, Yuchan said, My master said you're cauldron-filling state level 7. How did you reach that? Emo said calmly, Do you think there will be another prodigy like me? Plus, I'm much older than that Ao Qiandai. Yuchan was dazed. She didn't expect Emo to just call himself the #1 prodigy. How was she so shameless? You saw her real power long before. That's why you used Octagonal Cauldron before she used her orb, right? Tang Mingrao asked after a long while. If Qiandai was really possessed, then she must have been blind for not realizing. Emo knew Tang Mingrao didn't see Ao Qinya's real power for sure, so he just nodded. That's right. I saw her hiding her cultivation level. Out of the cauldron-filling state cultivators who came in, I'm the only honest one. Everyone else hid their power. Then, Emo looked at Tang Mingrao. Cultivators who have possessed a body would have much stronger divine damnations than ordinary divine damnations. Think about it. Did that Ao Qiandai ever ask you to protect her from disturbance during her divine damnation? Tang Mingrao heard this and thought, it was really so. Ao Qiandai never asked her to protect her during divine damnation. If she still couldn't realize that Ao Qiandai was possessed, she would be too dumb. Then, she looked at Emo. Why did she ambush you then? She used the Truth Explosion Orb to attack you. Clearly, she didn't plan to take your things. Since she is an Ao Qiandai, she has no reason to ambush you. Emo said calmly, How should I know? If I knew, I would have killed her already. Zhou Yushuang's master also knew his power was exposed. He could withstand that blast wave before. Clearly, he was no hollow spirit state cultivator. Emo's words meant that he already knew he was a cauldron-filling state cultivator when he came in. It was funny how he thought he had hidden his power. Realizing this, he showed his power to be cauldron-filling state peak stage, but Emo's face didn't even change one bit. However, Shandi frowned a little. The cauldron-filling state level 9 smiled bitterly. He thought he was the strongest here, but he was actually the weakest. Shandi didn't expect that woman who left to be Ao Qiandai. He glanced coldly at Emo and looked back at the sealed exit. He also took out a space transmission rune. Emo didn't stop him. He couldn't kill Shandi now as well. Just when Shandi was about to activate the space transmission rune, the sounds outside grew even louder. Emo's face changed, and he quickly used the octagonal cauldron to protect himself and Su Jingwen. The other two cauldron-filling state cultivators and Tang Mingrao also took out space transmission runes. Everyone knew that other than this rune, there was no way out. It was too dangerous. Emo just realized that he was the only one without any preparation, not even one space transmission rune. Emo immediately knew things weren't good. He saw that Tang Mingrao didn't lend him one either, meaning that she only had one. He thought of Zhou Yushuang. She had a level 8 transmission rune before. Her master was here, so he probably had more. As soon as he thought of this, the others activated their space transmission runes. Instantly, 3 white lights flashed in the hall. Tang Mingrao looked at Emo with a sliver of guilt. Emo saved her before, but now she didn't have a space transmission rune. She just wanted to leave here as early as possible so she wouldn't be guilty. Just when she wanted to activate it, she realized her rune was level 9. It should be fine taking 4 people. Plus, this was an emergency. Thinking about this, Tang Mingrao quickly said, "Emo, hurry up and hug me. We can leave together." Emo was just thinking of robbing that cauldron-filling state level 9 storage ring to see if there were any space transmission runes. But hearing this, he came over to Tang Mingrao with Su Jingwen without hesitation. He put his arm around Tang Mingrao's waist. Tang Mingrao looked very young, but she wasn't young. She had always been cultivating and thus never touched male cultivators before. She had never experienced love. Now that Emo held her, her body went a little soft. That masculine chi made her tremble, and she forgot to activate the transmission rune. Emo had been with Su Jingwen and Song Yangzhu these few days and was familiar with Tang Mingrao's reaction. He really didn't expect her to be like this. She was too sensitive. Just when Emo was about to remind her, Yuchan called out desperately, "Master, hurry up." However, Emo let go of Tang Mingrao's waist and shook his head. "No need, it's a waste." Then, Emo heard 3 thuds. Shandi, the cauldron-filling state level 9, and Zhou Yushuang with her master landed. Clearly, the transmission rune was of no use here. This meant that space itself here had changed after Ao Qianai left. Tang Mingrao just woke up. Her face was red like an apple. She really didn't expect her body to react like this, making her lose her mind for a moment. "Emo, how dare you?" Shandi reproached. The space transmission rune didn't work, and everyone was thinking of a way to leave. So was Emo. The space transmission rune didn't work, and everyone was thinking of a way to leave. So was Emo. But at this time, Shandi suddenly said this. Everyone else was dazed, and so was Emo. Su Jingwen smiled and whispered to Emo, "That man is angry because you felt sect leader Tang's waist." Emo looked back at Su Jingwen helplessly. "Jingwen, I didn't feel her up." Su Jingwen laughed but didn't answer. She was much more sensitive than Emo and had noticed what was going on. Shandi had been targeting Emo, and this made Su Jingwen very annoyed. But her power was too low, so she intentionally said Emo felt Tang Mingrao's waist to annoy Shandi. Despite her whispering, everyone heard it. Shandi was just going to reproach Emo, but now that Su Jingwen said this, he took out his fire rune mirror, clearly about to have a fight with Emo. Emo knew what Su Jingwen meant and shook his head, casually taking out Zisu. "Martial brother Shan, what are you doing? What time is it? The space transmission rune is useless, and yet you still want to fight here." Tang Mingrao knew Shandi was going to fight because of her. Shandi stared at Emo. "Martial sister Mingrao, this person is too rude. How dare he assault you? He thinks he has some power. I'm going to see what he's got today." Tang Mingrao's face sunk. "Martial brother Shan, if you want to fight with Emo, don't bring me into it. I let Emo hold me before. It has nothing to do with being rude. I don't like people using me as an excuse." Then, Tang Mingrao pulled Yuchan and said, "Let's go to the side." Hearing this, Shandi's face went green. Tang Mingrao even changed to calling him Emo instead of sect leader Yi. He didn't talk anymore and released his white mirror. Emo was also pissed. If it wasn't that Su Jingwen was here, he would fight with this Shandi no matter what. But now, he could only put Su Jingwen to the side and then smash over with lightning swords. The rest of the cultivators saw Emo and Shandi fight again and didn't dare to go near them at all. Emo's lightning swords as well as Zisu's sword ray clashed with Shandi's 7-star swords. The white rays never fully formed once. Each time they were about to form, they were hacked open by Zisu's sword rays. Lightning flashed in the hall, and everyone looked at it in shock. Too powerful. A cauldron-filling state level 7 cultivator fought with a disaster transformation state level 9, and this cauldron-filling state level 7 was attacking 70% of the time. Shandi seemingly was having it tough. He was covered in dirt. However, Emo knew that though he appeared to have the upper hand in the fight, his lightning sword couldn't do much to Shandi. The more the fight progressed, the more it wouldn't benefit him. The lightning sword used up too much cultivation essence and spirit sense. Just when Emo wanted to give Shandi a tough attack and use Spirit Sense Sword and Shadowless, Zisu and the 7-star swords clashed together head-on. There was another huge explosion, and one side of the wall collapsed. Everything thought that this hall was surrounded by the mountain bodies, but when the wall collapsed, everyone realized that there was a huge space behind the hall. There was a dim light inside this space. Just when everyone else was hesitating, Emo suddenly put away the octagonal cauldron and jumped to Su Jingguin, bringing her inside the space. Everyone noticed this and all copied Emo. As soon as they left, a piece of the hall disappeared, and then without any premonition, another piece disappeared. Even an idiot realized that the hall didn't disappear due to Space Fisher but Space Devourer. Everyone looked at Emo with admiration. If Emo didn't see it earlier and charge into here, no one would be able to stop that Space Devourer. Shandi completely lost the intention to fight with Emo. This Space Devourer was too terrifying, and he felt greatly threatened by Emo now. He realized that he might really be no match for Emo. Tang Mingrao walked up to Emo and asked, "Emo, how did you know there was danger in that hall?" Emo didn't talk. He felt eerie too. He felt there was danger in the hall, not because he was powerful, but he had experienced that devour before. In the Herb Valley, there was a terrifying space-devouring thing in the mist. Emo never expected to encounter it again here. Emo wasn't a timid person, but this was something that he completely couldn't defend against. No one spoke, not knowing how dangerous it was here. A few people regretted that only Emo got 3 immortal crystals here. The rest of the people didn't get anything. After a long while, Emo said to Tang Mingrao, "Sect leader Tang, we can't stay here for long. We need to leave quickly." Tang Mingrao nodded. "I know, but where can we go? This place is a gray mist. If we go further inside, we knows what we'll encounter?" Just when Emo wanted to talk, another large piece of the hall disappeared. Clearly, it was being devoured by something that was moving towards here. Emo didn't talk and just took Su Jingwen to fly inside more. A while later, the Space Devourer would be at their place. Seeing this, the rest of the people all didn't talk and followed Emo. Everyone saw Emo dodge the Truth Explosion Orb and the Space Devourer, so they felt that Emo had the natural ability to avoid danger. So they all followed Emo inside. If Emo was just by himself, he could just hide in the Golden Page world, but now Su Jingwen was with him, so he couldn't just flee. He could only bring people in his Golden Page world once he was Truth Realization state. The more they went inside, the narrower it became. Moments later, Emo saw there was no more road ahead. A tall sacrifice stage appeared. Next to it was a small temple. Emo saw this and immediately knew it was a seal. He was a level 9 formation grandmaster. Seeing this seal, Emo thought of the spirit body immediately. This seal must be for that spirit body, but then he realized he was wrong. This seal was shaky, but it wasn't broken, although it seemed to be about to break at any time. Emo looked behind and suddenly thought, did the space here disappear due to the weakening of the seal? The rumbling sound didn't stop. Emo took out a few formation flags and put them into the surroundings of the seal. Regardless, he had to try reseal this place. The rest of the people saw this and didn't do anything. Soon, Emo found that after he put the formation flags down, the seal seemed to be shaking more. Emo looked at the spirit gathering formation around here. The spirit chi seemed arid, so he took out 100 extreme-grade spirit stones and set up a spirit gathering formation quickly. Everyone saw this and was shocked. Emo was too wealthy, taking out 100 extreme-grade spirit stones so easily. Emo found that after he set up the spirit gathering formation, the seal indeed was suppressed a lot more. He rejoiced and threw out all sorts of formation flags, suppressing the seal. Emo found that after he set up the spirit gathering formation, the seal indeed was suppressed a lot more. He rejoiced and threw out all sorts of formation flags, suppressing the seal. 15 minutes later, EMO and everyone else found that the rumbling sound grew quieter until it was almost unable to be heard. That seal seemed still a little wobbly. EMO looked at the ring on the stage and hardened his heart, putting an immortal crystal on it. After that, the seal immediately quietened down. The formation around the stage seemed to be exerting great power. All the spirit chi rushed over to empower the formation. "EMO, is that stage a seal?" Tang Mingrao asked. EMO nodded. "This is indeed a seal, a level 10 seal too. Although I can't set up a level 10 formation, I can repair it a little." EMO scanned everyone and said, "This formation still needs a lot of top-grade materials. This seal is what seals the monster that can devour space. I believe everyone knows that if the seal is opened, it won't just be the disaster of North Far State. We are here, so I want everyone to take out their top-grade materials. I will forge new formation flags to reseal this place. I've already taken out 100 extreme-grade spirit stones and an immortal crystal. If you're still not willing to take out things, don't blame me for just leaving here." Tang Mingrao knew EMO was a level 9 formation grandmaster, but everyone else was extremely wary. EMO was so young yet he was a level 9 formation grandmaster. However, no one dared to ignore a spirit that could devour space itself. Plus, EMO already took out extreme-grade spirit stones and an immortal crystal, so everyone took out their best materials. Even Shandi didn't dare to go against EMO now. EMO even collected 100 extreme-grade spirit stones again. Shandi and Tang Mingrao had the most top-grade materials. Despite North Far State being a poor place, the sect leaders of 8-star sect still had quite a lot. Seeing EMO familiarly make formation flags, Shandi felt his mouth spasm. This guy was too absurd. As the formation flags rained down, EMO took out another 100 extreme-grade spirit stones, and the extreme-grade spirit stones other people contributed and put them on. EMO's formation mainly repaired the spirit gathering formation and perfected the original seal. It wasn't as stable as before, but this seal would be able to last another 100 or so years. Shandi really wanted EMO to take out the remaining 2 immortal crystals, but he knew he would be scorned, so he held his words. When EMO closed the formation flags, everyone felt the ground wobble, and then moments later, it disappeared. The rumbling sounds also disappeared. "Marshal Uncle Yi, since you sealed this place, can we go back the original way?" Yu-chan asked. EMO sighed and looked at her. "I don't need to go back to know that the way here has been sealed. It can't be opened from the outside. If we force our way from the inside, the seal will be broken again." "Huh?" Yu-chan exclaimed. "Then what do we do? There seems no way out of here. Even space transmission runes don't work. Aren't we going to be trapped here forever?" Su Jingwen also looked worriedly at EMO. "Can we go out?" EMO shook his head. "I don't know, but there's a temple there. We can go check it out." Now that EMO said this, everyone remembered there was still a small temple. EMO went in and saw a small futon. There was a jade slip next to it that seemed very new. Other than that, there was a painting on the back wall. The painting had a mountain and lake, but one spirit sense couldn't penetrate the painting. EMO picked up the painting and he scanned in. Immediately, he heard a roar, "Chew bastard. You told me that if I guarded the seal for 500 years there would be someone to replace me, but now tens of 500 years have passed and I don't see anyone, much less an immortal curl flower. Chew bastard, you're quite famous and respected too, but you tricked me, Shui Yufeng. Fuck you. In another few hundred years, even my essence spirit will die." Hearing this, EMO was shook. It was that spirit body's voice. He thought the soul sealed here was a powerful being or a demonic being, but it was actually the person guarding the seal. "I can't guard the seal anymore. If this sealing formation isn't repaired, the first thing that bastard is going to eat once it comes out is me. 5 insects came last time and 3 died. 1 got away with space transmission rune. And there's a bastard called EMO with the 9-fork key. I thought he was replacing me, but his power is weaker than an insect. I can drown him with 1 spit. Then I found that bastard wasn't here to replace me. He just wanted to get rich and he's sly like a dog. He tricked away my 5-element mobility technique and my level 10 material, 9 feather golden ping's tail feather. I won't let this guy go. But that ye bastard helped me a little. His 9-fort key wasn't completely useful, but it loosened the entrance, giving me a way to go out. Luckily, for more nascent soul state insects came and I used those 4 idiots to set up a blood-devouring formation. Only then could I go out. As for the seal, it's not my problem anymore. I've helped you guard it for so many years, but I don't even see the shadow of a mortal curl flower. What else do you want me to do? I'm going away anyways. The seal will be broken with a little force from the outside. If you can see this, then you do. If not, whatever. You didn't keep your words. I'm not going to stay here and wait for death. I'm going. As for the things in the 7 orbs, I didn't take them all. I left the 3 immortal crystals. I believe that should be enough for other people to seal the formation. Yemo speechlessly gave the jade slip to Tang Mingrao, who was waiting on the side. According to Shui Yufeng, the 7 orbs were for the next seal keeper. But the next person didn't come, so Shui Yufeng took all those good things in the 7 orbs. He was really stingy and only left behind 3 immortal crystals. Now, he had to use one to seal the formation. After everyone read this, people realized there was no way out. Even if someone wanted to come in, he would need the 9-fort key. Zhou Yushuang hesitated and asked, "Brother Yi, did you follow behind me when I came in?" Yemo nodded. "That's right, I was behind." "Yemo, it seems we can only come in but not go out," Tang Mingrao said worriedly. "But luckily you know formations. Otherwise, who knows what this terrifying monster is?" Yemo nodded and walked up to the wall, ripping off the painting. Yemo knew this painting wasn't ordinary. Otherwise, it wouldn't be blocking spirit sense. He put it away without hesitation. Shandi saw this but didn't say anything. Yemo knew this painting wasn't ordinary. Otherwise, it wouldn't be blocking spirit sense. He put it away without hesitation. Shandi saw this but didn't say anything. Everyone looked at the stone wall. There was nothing there but a sink. Yemo saw it. It was another 9-fort key sink. Tang Mingrao looked at Yemo and asked, "Is this the sink that the 9-fort key can be placed in as the jade slip said?" Yemo nodded. "Yes, this place might be for the seal keeper to go out. This small temple is probably a formation, a teleportation formation." Everyone looked at Yemo, as only he had the 9-fort key. Seeing everyone look at him, Yemo immediately said, "I have the 9-fort key, but there's no point in looking at me. Just look at the 4 corners of this temple. There are 4 sinks, meaning the temple needs to be powered. Then just use spirit stones," Yuchan said without thinking. Yemo didn't speak. Seeing this, Tang Mingrao asked uncertainly, "Yemo, do you mean that these sinks need immortal crystals instead of spirit stones?" Yemo nodded. "Look at the sink for the crystal. It's hexagonal. Even extreme-grade spirit stones only have 4 corners. Only immortal crystals have 6 corners. I'm sure that this place had immortal crystals, but they were taken by the guy guarding this place." Seeing everyone want to talk, Yemo said again, "I only have 2 immortal crystals. It's useless even if I use them. Why don't we try with extreme-grade spirit stones first? If not, we'll think of another way." Tang Mingrao asked. Yemo said heavily, "We can try, but if there's not enough power, space may be contorted and lives may be lost." Tang Mingrao thought for a long while and said, "There's clearly no other way out. We'll probably try eventually, so we might as well try now." Tang Mingrao then looked at the others and questioned, "What do you guys think?" Everyone said they were fine with it. Yemo also knew there was no other way but to try now, so he took out 4 extreme-grade spirit stones and put them into the sinks. Then, he took out the 9-key fork, putting it into the slot. The people in here waited a few breaths. They felt this temple was starting to move. Yizemo held Su Jingguan close to his side. He didn't want them to be separated again. The temple spun faster and faster. 10 seconds later, everyone in the temple felt lighter and a faint yellow ray formed. After the ray disappeared, the people in the temple had been teleported away. Yemo felt dizzy and immediately things felt wrong. At the instant of teleportation, most cultivators' spirit sense and conscious were obscured. People wouldn't be able to feel the notion of space until their power reached a certain level. But now, he clearly felt the teleportation process was dizzy. There was only one explanation, and that was the teleportation went wrong. He held Su Jingwen closely, but didn't take out his octagonal cauldron. It was too dangerous to take out anything during teleportation. Not only would you lose your thing, but it also might cause dispositions in space and start space chaos flows. Yemo just shut his eyes. This situation wasn't something he could deal with. He could only leave it to fate. He really disliked such a feeling, but he had to face it. After an unknown amount of time, Yemo felt solid land. He immediately rejoiced. No matter if the teleportation formation went wrong, he wasn't afraid as long as they were on land. Yemo kicked away large rocks, creating a huge cave. He wasn't injured, and soon, Yemo flew out from the cave with Su Jingwen. The next moment, Tang Mingrao and them were all teleported here. Just like Yemo, everyone crashed like a crater. Luckily, all cultivators here were cauldron-filling state or above, and the weaker people had someone to protect them. No one was injured. What is this place? Yuchan got out of Tang Mingrao's arms and asked in shock. Yemo had already started studying their location. They were in a desert. Behind it were endless mountains, the peaks soaring into the clouds such that even spirit sense couldn't see the end of them. There was also a river in front. Behind the river was a forest that spirit sense couldn't see the ends of. Yemo had never heard of this place, but he wasn't worried. Since they were out, with Shandi and Tang Mingrao's knowledge, surely they would know where this place was. Yemo wasn't worried no matter where in North Far State they were. He could get back to Pei High City on Blue Moon in a short time. Seeing Tang Mingrao didn't speak, Yemo asked, "Sect Leader Tang, where are we?" Tang Mingrao looked around with confusion and scanned her spirit sense out. Then she frowned. "Yemo, I've never been here. I don't know where is this." Then, she looked at Shandi. "Martial brother Shan, do you know where this is?" Shandi looked for a while and shook his head. "I don't know either." Zhou Yushuang's master spoke. "No matter where it is, it must be on Luoyu continent. We just need to go out and ask." Yemo fell silent. The teleportation process went wrong, probably due to insufficient spirit power. But luckily, space distortion didn't happen. "How do you know it went wrong?" Yuchan asked in shock. Yemo said heavily, "The teleportation formation is probably a set location teleportation, so we should be teleported to another teleportation formation. But this place not only has no teleportation formation, but we also landed irregularly." Shandi sneered but didn't attack and said to Tang Mingrao, "Martial sister Mingrao, I'm going first. If I have time, I will come visit Jade Woman Mountain." Then he released a middle-grade flying cultivation artifact and disappeared. The cauldron-filling state level 9 and Zhou Yushuang's master also saluted with their fists to Yemo and Tang Mingrao. "Wan Bei will be leaving. Thank you, Brother Yi and Sect Leader Tang, for your magnanimity." Then, the two took out flying cultivation artifacts and left in different directions. Seeing this, Tang Mingrao smiled awkwardly. "Yemo, I'm going too. If you have time, then you can come to Jade Woman Mountain with your wife." "I'm very sorry about Xiandai," Yemo said hesitantly. "Sect Leader Tang, I feel this place is not right. Let's leave later." Hearing this, Tang Mingrao seemed to have thought of something and blushed. She quickly said, "It's fine. As long as it's in North Far State, I'm not scared of anything." Hearing this, Yemo didn't say anything and saluted with his fists. Yuchan had a better and better impression of Yemo. She also said to Su Jingwen, "Sister Jingwen, you can visit Jade Woman Mountain with Martial Uncle Yi when you're free. You're the second prettiest girl I've seen." Then, she seemed to have thought of Aoqiandai and looked sad. Tang Mingrao sighed and nodded to Yemo before disappearing on a low-grade flying cultivation artifact. "Yemo, what do we do? Why don't we go with them?" Su Jingwen asked. Yemo looked at the river and forest. "Jingwen, I feel this place is very eerie. Here is better, but as for the forest and the mountains, I don't feel they're a part of North Far State." Yemo felt a sliver of danger here. Su Jingwen frowned and nodded. "Yeah, I have this feeling too. The spirit chi here seems much greater than North Far State." Yemo nodded. "You're right. I've been to South Peace State. The spirit chi here is no less than the average place in South Peace State. It's even denser than some small sect spirit chi. If this place was in North Far State, How could there not be a sect here? Su Jingwen just wanted to agree when they heard a terrifying howl of pain. It wasn't even the same spirit beast that took the cauldron-filling state level 9, meaning there were many more level 10 spirit beasts than he had thought. Tang Mingrao and her disciple were in danger. Zhou Yushuang and her master were probably dead. The desert was so small, and Yimo knew he had no way to escape. Yimo didn't dare to go into the river as either. Who knew what was in there? Yimo took Su Jingwen and used an earth mobility magic, disappearing from where they were. For ordinary people, even if you went 100 kilometers below the earth, people could scan there with spirit sense. But Yimo didn't face that problem as he was a formation grandmaster. He took Su Jingwen down nearly tens of thousands of meters before stopping. He opened up a space like a room and set up a few stealth formations there. Then, he set up a level 9 defense formation inside before taking out the spirit marrow pond and saying, "You can cultivate in here. You're going to go into that golden page world?" Su Jingwen asked. Yimo took out a jade card and said, "My golden page world will be in the spirit marrow pond. If you're in trouble, just crush the jade card and I'll come out. I can see your cultivation from inside too, so don't worry." After Yimo went in the golden page world, Su Jingwen began cultivating with the pills Yimo left with her. She knew that even if she reached hollow spirit state, she wouldn't be of much help to Yimo. But the higher her power was, the more help she was. If she didn't cultivate, how was she going to wait such a long time? Yimo came onto the extreme grade spirit range. He put it with the Herb King's spirit range now, next to the bitter bamboo. In order to hurry up and increase his power, he couldn't care about wastage. He set up a spirit gathering formation on the extreme grade spirit range. Then, Yimo took out the immortal crystals. Although they were best left for breaking through to truth realization state, but even if it was a god crystal, Yimo would use it now. He had to hurry up and cultivate. When he was strong enough, he would take Su Jingwen to leave this place. Yimo split one immortal crystal into 7 pieces and put them into the 7 sinks. Yimo immediately noticed that the formation disc spun much faster than before. This time, he didn't even use the spirit range to cultivate. He just held the other immortal crystal and started absorbing the chi instantly. Yimo felt all his meridians expand out. That indescribable feeling of satisfaction made him feel cultivation was so good. This was immortal spirit chi. Yimo felt deeply the loss of the immortal crystal he used for the seal. Breaking through was no trouble for the immortal crystal at all. It was like walking on a huge road. He easily came to cauldron-filling state level 8. Yimo even wanted to take off the immortal crystals from the time formation disc and use it for cultivation, but thinking about how much the time formation disc wasted extreme grade spirit range, Yimo resisted that urge. Immortal crystals cultivation were good, but using immortal crystals to power the time formation disc was better. There was no waste of spirit chi. 5 months later, Yimo was cauldron-filling state level 9. Yimo quickly stopped cultivation and stopped the time formation disc too. He found that only a quarter of the immortal crystal was gone. Yimo rejoiced. This meant that he could use the time formation disc for about a year. The immortal crystal was too powerful. Less than half of the immortal crystal used for cultivation was gone, and he reached from cauldron-filling state level 7 to cauldron-filling state level 9 peak. The time was also greatly shortened. If he didn't use immortal crystals, he would need at least 2 years, and that was with the extreme grade spirit range. But Yimo still devoured most of the spirit chi from the extreme grade spirit range. Immortal crystals just made it more convenient for him to break through. Yimo saw through the surveillance formation that Su Jingwen was still cultivating and didn't disturb her. He took out shafruit and a few spirit herbs and started concocting the disaster life pill. He was preparing for disaster transformation state. The pill was a level 8 spirit pill, but Yimo was a level 8 pill king, so it was very easy for him. Yimo's heaven flame had reached blue color already, and after 15 minutes, he had concocted the pills. There were 5 special grade and 1 top grade pill. He put 1 pill on his hand and the rest back in the jade bottle. He then left the golden page world. He had to have his divine damnation outside as the golden page world didn't allow for it yet. You're out this quick? Su Jingwen asked Emo in confusion. How long have I been cultivating? Emo asked. He estimated that the time ratio would be greater than using the spirit range to power the time formation disk. How long have I been cultivating? Emo asked. He estimated that the time ratio would be greater than using the spirit range to power the time formation disk. It's only been 10 days. What's your power level now? Su Jingwen asked in confusion. It was indeed a little faster, but very limited. He was 1 month faster. Emo explained simply to her. I have a time formation disk in my small world. I cultivated for a year inside, but it's only been a month outside. I'm cauldron filling state peak stage now, and about to have my divine damnation. Su Jingwen looked at Emo in shock and asked in surprise and joy, then does that mean we can use the time formation disk for cultivation? I was wondering how you were cultivating so fast. So it's a 1 to 12 time ratio. I also want to use the time formation disk to cultivate. Emo looked at her awkwardly. It needs immortal crystals or an extreme grade spirit range. Su Jingwen nodded. I understand. Even with the time formation disk, we won't be able to cultivate unless we have immortal crystals or an extreme grade spirit range. Su Jingwen didn't think much and stood up, kissing Emo before saying, Go have your divine damnation and take me out too. I will watch on the side. Hearing this, Emo said seriously, Definitely not. I'm going to have my divine damnation in the mountains. If you go, I won't be able to protect you, and it may affect my divine damnation. But there are so many high-level spirit beasts there. If you go alone, how can I feel safe? Su Jingwen asked worriedly. Emo smiled. You should just wait for me here. After I'm done, I will need to come back to cultivate. Disaster transformation state level 1 is much stronger than before, but it's not 100% safe here. Su Jingwen heard this and said, Okay then, hurry up and reach truth realization state and show me inside your small world. I want to see if you're hiding pretty women there. Emo knew Su Jingwen wanted him to relax and have the divine damnation, but the words made him awkward. He really was hiding pretty women in the golden page world. There was Luo Yin and Ye Shuangshuang. Luckily, she didn't think much and said, Go have your divine damnation. Don't worry about me. I'll stay here. No matter how long you take, I will wait for you here. Okay. Emo added an attack formation outside before dashing out to the mountains. 15 minutes later, Emo was at a peak that was dense in spirit chi as soon as he appeared. His spirit sense saw multiple level 9 spirit beasts. There were also 2 level 10 spirit beasts here. Emo's skin crawled. Just what was this place? There were so many powerful spirit beasts here. What he saw next shocked him even more. He saw a large patch of level 6 spirit herbs, a few hundred purple-back blue carrots. Not far ahead were 3 level 7 spirit herbs, tiger blood shi. Emo took a cold breath in. There were so many spirit herbs here, yet no one touched them. As soon as Emo looked there, a few level 8 spirit beasts saw Emo, and their eyes looked frenzied as they charged over at Emo. Emo ignored those spirit herbs and took out formation flags, setting up a spirit gathering formation. He threw down 100 extreme-grade spirit stones and a large bunch of spirit crystals before eating the disaster life pill. Then, he started circulating the 3 birth chant. Those few level 8 spirit beasts neared Emo soon, but before they even came here, Emo threw out a few lightning swords. With a rumble, the black lightning swords flashed and all those level 8 spirit beasts died without a chance to ran. Seeing this power, the other spirit beasts all stopped, but soon a few level 9 spirit beasts came, and they didn't have any concerns at all. Emo threw out a few more lightning swords. The leading level 9 redback horned wolf flipped a few times before standing up. Its back was black. Clearly, it was heavily injured. Seeing this, those few level 9 spirit beasts stopped and looked at Emo with concern. Emo ignored them and ran the 3 birth chant like crazy. He wanted to attract the divine damnation. The spirit beast knew Emo's lightning swords were powerful and didn't charge up, but they didn't leave either. The level 9 spirit beast saw Yemo just cultivate and cruelty beamed out of its eyes. It howled and the sound soon echoed in the mountains. Yemo ignored it and devoured an immortal crystal to drastically improve his power. 8 minutes later, the sky above his head darkened. Black clouds formed and the sky grew heavy. At this moment, these spirit beasts realized that the human cultivator was going to have divine damnation, and he dared to do it at the magic beast mountain range. They'd all had divine damnation before after reaching level 8 and knew that people were at their weakest when they had divine damnation. Usually cultivators or spirit beasts would have someone to protect them, but this human cultivator dared to have his divine damnation here. A sharp howl sounded and 2 level 10 spirit beasts arrived. Seeing this, all the other spirit beasts moved aside, and the 2 level 10 spirit beasts saw the black clouds and were dazed. But soon, 1 level 10 horn dragon charged at Yemo. Before he even reached Yemo, 48 thick lightning arcs rained down. They were thick and black too. The level 10 spirit beast was dazed. What divine damnation was this? Even the spirit beast transformation divine damnation wasn't 1% as powerful as this. The instant the lightning arcs rained down, the level 10 spirit beast knew things weren't good and wanted to run, but he was already in Yemo's divine damnation. It was considered something to be killed by the divine damnation. A small part of the lightning arcs flew towards the dragon. With this, horror filled the dragon's eyes. Rumble Rumble Yemo didn't even use a defense magic artifact. To him, divine damnation was a huge nutrition supplement. How could he waste it using a defense magic artifact? At the same time, Yemo also shot out tins of lightning swords. This was his old tactic, to hit lightning with lightning. This seemed to anger the divine damnation, and thus more lightning arcs would rain down. This was probably the only cultivator ever to have divine damnation like this. Yemo's lightning sword clashed with the divine damnation, making horrifying sounds. Black lightning dispersed everywhere, and those spirit beasts all retreated. A few thick lightning arcs landed on Yemo's body and easily pulverized his low-grade cultivation artifact armor. Blood flew out, but Yemo didn't care. He had a lot of armors. After Yemo digested all these lightning arcs, he felt a feeling of satisfaction. His meridians were smoother and wider after being washed by the black lightning. Yemo saw the dragon. It was like a punctured soccer ball, panting for life on the side. Yemo sneered. Just with your power you dare to stop my divine damnation? Don't embarrass yourself. Yemo walked to the dragon and kicked it flying a few hundred meters away. The dragon's eyes showed embarrassment. He was a level 10 spirit beast and could talk. How could he not understand Yemo's words? He just really didn't understand how come he almost died to 5 lightning arcs, but this human took more than 40 and was only lightly injured. Since when was there such an absurd human cultivator? Was he challenging the magic beast mountain range by having his divine damnation here? Yemo didn't know what the beast thought, but he really wanted a level 10 beast core. He knew it would fetch a heavenly price if he sold it, but he felt that wasn't a wise move to do here. There were so many high-level spirit beasts here. If he dared to overtly collect beast cores, they would all hunt him. He still had Su Jingwen with him. Rumble 36 more lightning arcs rained down, but Yemo just used 18 lightning swords and split them up into 36. The lightning sword couldn't stop the power of the lightning bolts, but it could mitigate part of the power. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.